17 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, well, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard then, Joel Darman's on 6 under by himself in sole possession of 5th. He signed for a round of 68 on Friday, as did Mark Hubbard, who was on 5 under, alongside Christopher Raitan, Pontus Nyholm, Hank Lebioda, Aaron Rai, Shane Lowry and also Jimmy Stanger. There are 5 players who are sitting on 4 under par. That's 7 shots off the halfway lead. They are William Moo, Michael Brennan, Daniel Berger, Seamus Power and Chad Ramey. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Aston Villa's Champions League hopes have suffered another blow as Wolves clinched a stunning derby victory to avoid an unwanted record. João Gomes and Rodrigo Gomes ensured the home side reached 13 points as they moved past Derby's record Premier League low points total of 11 set back in the 07-08 season. They do remain bottom and destined for relegation, but they at least claimed a second top-flight win of the season. Villa, who remain third, well, they missed the chance to move 6 points clear of Manchester United in fourth, and they have won just 2 of their past 7 league games. Sticking in football, and Jeremy Nagakia's sublime second-half strike gave Watford victory at Championship playoff rivals Bristol City, who they'd leapfrogged in the table up to 7th. Luka Kiermangard lifted the ball over Robins keeper Radek Vitek to put Watford 1-0 up after just 7 minutes, while at Saba Agoglice also hit the post during the first half for the Hornets. Scott Twine headed City level before the break, nodding in a lovely Adam Randall cross, and a point apiece looked to be on the cards. That was until Nagakia's shot from outside the box curled perfectly into the top corner, allowing Watford to close the gap to 6th place Wrexham to 3 points before the rest of the weekend's games. On to tennis now, and Britain's Katie Boulter was unable to build on a superb start as she lost to Italian top seed Yasmin Paolini in the last 8 of the Merida Open. Against the world number 7 in Mexico, Boulter won the first set in 28 minutes without dropping a game, but errors started to creep in as Paolini went on to win love 6, 6-3, 6-3. Snooker, and John Higgins has remained on course for his 6th Welsh Open title after he brushed aside Zhao Yulong in the quarter-final. The Scot clinched 3 scrappy frames before making breaks of 75 and 67 to win the contest 5-0. Higgins will now meet Jack Lisowski in the semi-final after he defeated 2017 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, well, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard then, Joel Darman's on 6 under by himself in sole possession of 5th. He signed for a round of 68 on Friday, as did Mark Hubbard, who was on 5 under, alongside Christopher Raitan, Pontus Nyholm, Hank Lebioda, Aaron Rai, Shane Lowry and also Jimmy Stanger. There are 5 players who are sitting on 4 under par. That's 7 shots off the halfway lead. They are William Moo, Michael Brennan, Daniel Berger, Seamus Power and Chad Ramey. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Aston Villa's Champions League hopes have suffered another blow as Wolves clinched a stunning derby victory to avoid an unwanted record. João Gomes and Rodrigo Gomes ensured the home side reached 13 points as they moved past Derby's record Premier League low points total of 11 set back in the 07-08 season. They do remain bottom and destined for relegation, but they at least claimed a second top-flight win of the season. Villa, who remain third, well, they missed the chance to move 6 points clear of Manchester United in fourth, and they have won just 2 of their past 7 league games. Sticking in football, and Jeremy Nagakia's sublime second-half strike gave Watford victory at Championship playoff rivals Bristol City, who they'd leapfrogged in the table up to 7th. Luka Kiermangard lifted the ball over Robins keeper Radek Vitek to put Watford 1-0 up after just 7 minutes, while Saba Agoglice also hit the post during the first half for the Hornets. Scott Twine headed City level before the break, nodding in a lovely Adam Randall cross, and a point apiece looked to be on the cards. That was until Nagaki's shot from outside the box curled perfectly into the top corner, allowing Watford to close the gap to 6th place Wrexham to 3 points before the rest of the weekend's games. On to tennis now, and Britain's Katie Boulter was unable to build on a superb start as she lost to Italian top seed Yasmin Paolini in the last 8 of the Merida Open. Against the world number 7 in Mexico, Boulter won the first set in 28 minutes without dropping a game, but errors started to creep in as Paolini went on to win love 6, 6-3, 6-3. Snooker and John Higgins has remained on course for his 6th Welsh Open title after he brushed aside Zhao Yulong in the quarter-final. The Scot clinched 3 scrappy frames before making breaks of 75 and 67 to win the contest 5-0. Higgins will now meet Jack Lisowski in the semi-final after he defeated 2017 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now, finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, well, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard then, Joel Darman's on 6 under by himself in sole possession of 5th. He signed for a round of 68 on Friday, as did Mark Hubbard, who was on 5 under, alongside Christopher Raitan, Pontus Nyholm, Hank Lebioda, Aaron Rai, Shane Lowry, and also Jimmy Stanger. There are 5 players who are sitting on 4 under par, that's 7 shots off the halfway lead. They are William Moo, Michael Brennan, Daniel Berger, Seamus Power, and Chad Ramey. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Aston Villa's Champions League hopes have suffered another blow as Wolves clinched a stunning derby victory to avoid an unwanted record. João Gomes and Rodrigo Gomes ensured the home side reached 13 points as they moved past Derby's record Premier League low points total of 11 set back in the 07-08 season. They do remain bottom and destined for relegation, but they at least claimed a second top-flight win of the season. Villa, who remain third, well, they missed the chance to move 6 points clear of Manchester United in 4th, and they have won just 2 of their past 7 league games. Sticking in football, and Jeremy Nagaki's sublime second-half strike gave Watford victory at Championship playoff rivals Bristol City, who they leapfrogged in the table up to 7th. Luka Kiermangard lifted the ball over Robins keeper Radek Vitek to put Watford 1-0 up after just 7 minutes, while Saba Agoglice also hit the post during the first half for the Hornets. Scott Twine headed City level before the break, nodding in a lovely Adam Randall cross, and a point apiece looked to be on the cards. That was until Nagaki's shot from outside the box curled perfectly into the top corner, allowing Watford to close the gap to 6th place Wrexham to 3 points before the rest of the weekend's games. On to tennis now, and Britain's Katie Boulter was unable to build on a superb start as she lost to Italian top seed Yasmin Paolini in the last 8 of the Merida Open. Against the world number 7 in Mexico, Boulter won the first set in 28 minutes without dropping a game, but errors started to creep in as Paolini went on to win love 6, 6-3, 6-3. Snooker and John Higgins has remained on course for his 6th Welsh Open title after he brushed aside Zhao Yulong in the quarter-final. The Scot clinched 3 scrappy frames before making breaks of 75 and 67 to win the contest 5-0. Higgins will now meet Jack Lisowski in the semi-final after he defeated 2017 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now, finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, well, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard then, Joel Darman's on 6 under by himself in sole possession of 5th. He signed for a round of 68 on Friday, as did Mark Hubbard, who was on 5 under, alongside Christopher Raitan, Pontus Nyholm, Hank Lebioda, Aaron Wright, Shane Lowry, and also Jimmy Stanger. There are 5 players who are sitting on 4 under par, that's 7 shots off the halfway lead. They are William Moo, Michael Brennan, Daniel Berger, Seamus Power, and Chad Ramey. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Aston Villa's Champions League hopes have suffered another blow as Wolves clinched a stunning derby victory to avoid an unwanted record. João Gomes and Rodrigo Gomes ensured the home side reached 13 points as they moved past Derby's record Premier League low points total of 11 set back in the 07-08 season. They do remain bottom and destined for relegation, but they at least claimed a second top-flight win of the season. Villa, who remain third, they missed the chance to move 6 points clear of Manchester United in fourth, and they have won just 2 of their past 7 league games. Sticking in football, and Jeremy Nagakia's sublime second-half strike gave Watford victory at Championship playoff rivals Bristol City, who they leapfrogged in the table up to 7th. Luka Kiermangard lifted the ball over Robins keeper Radek Vitek to put Watford 1-0 up after just 7 minutes, while Saba Agoglice also hit the post during the first half for the Hornets. Scott Twine headed City level before the break, nodding in a lovely Adam Randall cross, and a point apiece looked to be on the cards. That was until Nagakia's shot from outside the box curled perfectly into the top corner, allowing Watford to close the gap to 6th place Wrexham to 3 points before the rest of the weekend's games. On to tennis now, and Britain's Katie Boulter was unable to build on a superb start as she lost to Italian top seed Yasmin Paolini in the last 8 of the Merida Open. Against the world number 7 in Mexico, Boulter won the first set in 28 minutes without dropping a game, but errors started to creep in as Paolini went on to win love 6, 6-3, 6-3. Snooker, and John Higgins has remained on course for his 6th Welsh Open title after he brushed aside Zhao Yulong in the quarter-final. The Scot clinched 3 scrappy frames before making breaks of 75 and 67 to win the contest 5-0. Higgins will now meet Jack Lisowski in the semi-final after he defeated 2017 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now, finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard then, Joel Darman's on 6 under by himself in sole possession of 5th. He signed for a round of 68 on Friday, as did Mark Hubbard, who was on 5 under, alongside Christopher Raitan, Pontus Nyholm, Hank Lebioda, Aaron Wright, Shane Lowry, and also Jimmy Stanger. There are 5 players who are sitting on 4 under par, that's 7 shots off the halfway lead. They are William Moo, Michael Brennan, Daniel Berger, Seamus Power, and Chad Ramey. That's all for now. We'll have more later. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm James Mason. We'll begin in football, and Aston Villa's Champions League hopes have suffered another blow as Wolves clinched a stunning derby victory to avoid an unwanted record. João Gomes and Rodrigo Gomes ensured the home side reached 13 points as they moved past Derby's record Premier League low points total of 11 set back in the 07-08 season. They do remain bottom and destined for relegation, but they at least claimed a second top-flight win of the season. Villa, who remain third, they missed the chance to move 6 points clear of Manchester United in fourth, and they have won just 2 of their past 7 league games. Sticking in football, and Jeremy Nagakia's sublime second-half strike gave Watford victory at Championship playoff rivals Bristol City, who they leapfrogged in the table up to 7th. Luka Kiermangard lifted the ball over Robins keeper Radek Vitek to put Watford 1-0 up after just 7 minutes, while Saba Agoglice also hit the post during the first half for the Hornets. Scott Twine headed City level before the break, nodding in a lovely Adam Randall cross, and a point apiece looked to be on the cards. That was until Nagakia's shot from outside the box curled perfectly into the top corner, allowing Watford to close the gap to 6th place Wrexham to 3 points before the rest of the weekend's games. On to tennis now, and Britain's Katie Boulter was unable to build on a superb start as she lost to Italian top seed Yasmin Paolini in the last 8 of the Merida Open. Against the world number 7 in Mexico, Boulter won the first set in 28 minutes without dropping a game, but errors started to creep in as Paolini went on to win love 6, 6-3, 6-3. Snooker and John Higgins has remained on course for his 6th Welsh Open title after he brushed aside Zhao Yulong in the quarter-final. The Scot clinched 3 scrappy frames before making breaks of 75 and 67 to win the contest 5-0. Higgins will now meet Jack Lisowski in the semi-final after he defeated 2017 champion Stuart Bingham 5-2. And finally now, finishing in golf, and the halfway point of the Cognizant Classic on the PGA Tour has been reached, and the American Austin Smotherman holds a 3-shot advantage. He sits on 11 under par. He followed his opening round 62 with a round of 69. Smotherman, well, he's 3 shots clear of his fellow American Taylor Moore, who's on 8 under. Moore is signed for back-to-back rounds of 67. A further shot in arrears on 7 under is AJ Evart and also Nico Echevarria. They carded rounds of 64 and 72 on Friday. A little bit further down the leaderboard,
relatively in different form, to be brutally honest. It's one of those games where Sunderland come into this one a little bit disappointed with the way that the last one went, losing their unbeaten home record this season, and they come up against the Bournemouth side, who, yes, are unbeaten in their last 6, but there's not a huge amount of wins in that in those 6 games unbeaten. I'll bring Eric in a second, but straight away it's Bournemouth looking to try and cause issues down the near side. Omar Alderete steps across to put in a challenge there on Eli Junior Krupi. The ball's out of play for a Sunderland throw-in on the near side. But Eric, it's 2 teams this afternoon who will be absolutely desperate for the 3 points. A, to turn around some slightly indifferent form, but B, to push themselves towards the European places.
Absolutely, I know. Obviously, Bournemouth, they're 8th at the moment, so, which potentially is a Conference League place, the way things are going. So 5 teams going to the Champions League, and Sunderland, you think relegation troubles was left behind ages ago. So for them to get on the winning streak again, it's not out of sight. So, and for both clubs getting into the Conference League, would be magnificent.
Yeah, it certainly would be. Just the 2 changes made by Andoni Iraola coming into this one. It's David Brooks and Marcus Tavernier that return to the side in place of Amin Adli and Evan Nielsen. As for Regis Lebris, there are 4 changes made from the defeat against Fulham, 3 of which are enforced due to injury. Robbie Mukiele and Tarbi all out injured. In come Luciel Hertroider, Chemsdin Talbi and Eliza Mayenda for those. There's also a return to the side for the previously injured Granit Xhaka. He comes in to replace Nilsson Angulo in the side. I'll run you through the lineups in full in a moment or so. But it's Sunderland with the ball in hand over on the far side with Hertroider. Long throw sent forward is flicked on by Eliza Mayenda, then cleared away by Adrian Truffert. Eventually it will be gathered by Omar Alderete, who will volley the ball back to his goalkeeper Robin Ruffs, who does brilliantly well to control it with his chest on the edge of the penalty area. Of course, this is the 12:30 game in the Premier League, so no other games in England's top division being played at the moment. I'll break off because that's a good challenge from Lefay. Here's Siddiqui on the edge of the box. Siddiqui with the first effort, and a good save from Petrovic to keep it at 0-0. Really good bit of play there from Noah Siddiqui. And he's unfortunate to have not found the back of the net. Still Sunderland come forward though. Xhaka feeds Lefay, bundled down in the penalty area. Jared Gillett says no. Play will continue with Sunderland coming forward with Hertroider. Hertroider now lays it off to Talbi. Talbi now back to the halfway line. And Enzo Lefay still not happy with the Australian referee. He feels he was fouled there inside the penalty area. VAR will of course have a look. Granit Xhaka's then been fouled in the middle. That's the exact same foul that was on Enzo Lefay inside the penalty area.
Exactly the same one, just in the middle of the park. Much easier to get. For me, that's a penalty. It basically goes with his elbow into the back of Lefay, and basically, if the referee gives it, VAR would not overturn it. And before that,
even a foul in the middle of the park for the exact same challenge. It's not. If you're Jared Gillett, you're put in a pretty awkward position. But 4 minutes in, we've had a first shot on target. Siddiqui coming close to beating Georgi Petrovic. We've had a penalty appeal waved away by Jared Gillett for Sunderland. Lefay being bundled down in the penalty area. They have now got a free kick on the edge of the centre circle for Granit Xhaka to swing in. It will be the Swiss international to swing it in on his return from injury. starting once again in the midfield with the captain's armband. He'll float this left-footed ball in towards the penalty spot. It's a decent header away initially by Tyler Adams. Then David Brooks will put it back into the penalty area for some reason, but it's cleared away by Tavernier. Only his father was Xhaka. Courtois will go back to Trey Hume, and Sunderland will restart along the halfway line. As I mentioned, though, again, I'll have to break off because Eli Junior Krupi nearly pokes the ball away, although Sunderland have it back. There are no other Premier League games being played at the moment, but there are a few across the EFL. Derby hosts Blackburn, Leicester hosts Norwich, and Portsmouth host Hull in the Championship. All those games available on this service. There are also some League 1 and League 2 games, some of which are available as well. I'll try and keep you updated on all the scores in the 12:30 kickoffs, but the focus will remain on this game in the Premier League at the Vitality Stadium. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. 5 minutes gone, it's still Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, but Sunderland will feel it really ought not to have been. I've still not had a chance to go through the lineups. I'll go through them now, actually, now that the ball's out of play. For Bournemouth, it's Petrovic in goal. A back four of Truffert, Senesi, Hill and Jimenez. Midfield two of Scott and Adams, with Tavernier, Brooks and Rayan supporting Eli Junior Krupi up front. After Sunderland, it's Roofs in goal. Back four of Gertruida, Ballard, Alderete and Hume. Midfield three of Diarra, Xhaka and Siddiqui, with Talbi and Lafay supporting Eliza Mayenda as the lone striker. So those are the teams coming into this one. Ball's now out to play for a throw-in on the near side for Sunderland. No Nordi Mukiele, so it looks as though Trey Hume's on long throw-in duty. We'll wait to see what the Northern Irishman can do with this one on the Sunderland left. He'll float this one in towards the near post. Ballard's there, of course he is, but it'll be headed away by James Hill. Gathered on the near side by Habib Diarra, trying to get away from Alex Jimenez. The Spaniard does well initially, although Diarra then gets there ahead of Alex Scott and takes it away from a couple in red and black. Then finds Alderete, who plays the ball into Trey Hume. He's been bundled over from behind. Again, this time it's by Alex Scott, and that's going to be another free kick for a similar foul that Granit Xhaka won his from earlier on. We'll just see a replay. Yep, push in the back, you can't complain.
It's a free kick, and it's like an outstretched arm as well, with a flat hand on the shoulder from Alex Scott. But well, what a start from Sunderland! What an energy they're playing with. I think most people, including myself, have a Bournemouth as favourite in this game. So it's a fantastic start of the game. We're looking at the penalty appeal again. I think it's a penalty.
Yeah, it is a penalty. I don't really know on what grounds that isn't a spot kick, to be brutally honest. Jared Gillett didn't give it in the moment, that's okay. We have VAR for a reason, and VAR had a look and said, nope, we're not going to give it, and that's where the confusion lies for me personally. But either way, free kick now to be taken by Sunderland. I'd say it's 25-30 yards away from goal to the left-hand side of the penalty area. It'll be Enzo Lafay to swing it in. Right-footed ball towards the back post. There's nobody running towards the back post. There's players that have tumbled over, and in the end it's been headed behind by Alex Scott for a corner, unless the referee has pulled it back for a foul in the penalty area, but I don't think he has. We'll just see a replay of it now. It's just a coming together, isn't it? There's nothing untoward, and that is a good decision from Jared Gillett, I think.
Yeah, it's basically, if you give a free kick, then when you start, well, what's the first foul? So they're fouling each other, so let play go.
Do you know what, Eric? They're not even fouling each other. Senesi's just flopped himself onto the floor, hasn't he? It's really poor defending, and I actually think Sunderland will maybe look at that and go, they should have had somebody running at the back post getting in there. But either way, chance now from the corner. Granit Xhaka to swing this left-footed in swing on the right-hand side in. He's gone for goal there as Granit Xhaka, and he's hit the side netting.
Yeah, it looked like it was a whipped corner straight into the side netting. Whether it went for goal or not, I assume it would be that flick on the front post, which was the intention. But again, it's 8 minutes. Bournemouth, it's hardly been out of their own half, and now, because of the high press, it's just a long ball going forward for Bournemouth. They have a chance now.
Yeah, Eli Junior Krupi trying to move away from Omar Alderete. It's a lot easier said than done, and Alderete stops him in his tracks. A reminder of how this fixture went earlier on in the season, or the reverse fixture I should say. Sunderland picked up a 3-2 victory at the Stadium of Light against Bournemouth, courtesy of goals from Brobby, Traore and Lafay. They were 2-0 down in that one inside 15 minutes, but were able to pull it back. Bournemouth were also reduced to 10 men as well. Lewis Cook was sent off right at the end of the game for violent conduct. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes this afternoon. At the minute, Sunderland, slightly surprisingly, have been well on top, particularly given their shocking away from home form. So it's been mentioned plenty how good they've been at home, only losing for the first time at home this season. last weekend, but away from home they have been really quite poor. They've only won twice all campaign, so they'll be certainly hoping for an uptick in form away from home for the rest of the season. Well, they've started this game pretty well so far. Here it is along the back four with Alex Scott, who's just dropped deep to pick the ball up before launching one long down the left-hand side, looking towards David Brooks. He'll get there ahead of Kertroyd. A lovely ball from Scott, and lovely close control from Brooks as well. Nice turn inside to feed Tavernier. Tavernier back to Brooks. Ball towards the near post. Good challenge comes in from Dan Ballard. He clatters into Alderete as well. But the important thing is he gets the ball away from danger, because when Eli Junior Krupi's on the pitch, there is always danger for Bournemouth.
Always danger, and that was some really nice silky skills from Brooks and Tavernier. Nice give and go. First control from Brooks was phenomenal under pressure, and then the 1-2, and then the cross into the box. Just Ballard got to the ball before Krupi, who's obviously is a goal machine when he's on form. So first corner of the game for Bournemouth.
Yep, first corner to be swung in for the Cherries. Interesting to see what they do with this one. They've been waved on by Jared Gillett. It'll be played short by Tavernier. Now it's Brooks once again. Here's Scott. It's been worked terribly by Bournemouth, and Brooks has just passed that ball out of play. Eric, I think you know I'm a hater of short corners, but that is a perfect example why they've loaded the box, and after 3 passes it's a Sunderland throw-in.
Yeah, basically you take a short corner, and I think no one got a memo how to actually play that short corner. So you actually play it under pressure outside the box. And eventually that corner didn't go into the box, ended up with a throw-in 20 yards up the pitch for Sunderland instead. Yeah, just ridiculous not to whip it into the cross or take the short corner, one pass, and then swing it into the box.
Yeah, Sunderland now trying to play out from the back. Roos with a chip ball onto the near side for Trey Hume. Lafay doesn't think about challenging Hill in the air, but Alderete will nod away from danger. It's sent back in by Tyler Adams. Peels for offside against Rayan, nothing given. Play will continue with Siddiqui in possession, and Jacques has hit the deck. Referee says no foul on Jacques or Siddiqui. Eli Junior Krupi strike. Really good opportunity, huge opportunity, and it's wide of the post. Sunderland are absolutely furious. They think there was 2 fouls there in the build-up, one on Xhaka, one on Habib Diarra. In the end it fell to Eli Junior Krupi, who's got the best goal-to-minute ratio in the Premier League, and he's made a hash of it.
Yeah, he's made a hash of it, and the foul might have been on Xhaka earlier on. I don't think the latter one was a foul, but he's got Tavernier there for a sideways pass, which would have been a much easier chance, but he needs to put that on his outside of his right boot because of the angle. It just goes all wrong and out towards the corner flag rather. But would that goal been disallowed because of the foul on Xhaka? Because they're getting a bit physical now.
They certainly is. It was a game that was pretty spicy at the Stadium of Light. It certainly proved to be the case so far in this one. 12 minutes in, Alex Scott's just been fouled there by Noah Siddiqui. The young midfielder doesn't agree with the referee. Still only 21 years of age, Noah Siddiqui, but he's been one of Sunderland's best players this season. The phrase goes 70% of the world is covered by water, the rest is covered by Noah Siddiqui. And to be honest with you, it does tend to be true. The DRC international has been very, very impressive in his first season in the Premier League. Giving away a foul here though, and Bournemouth again take the set piece short. Truffert will move it over onto the far side for Brooks. This time it does stay in play. It's back now with Alex Scott. Forward to Truffert. Truffert now back to Alex Scott again. Bournemouth loaded up the penalty area, but what would they rather do? They'd rather pass it around the midfield. Just as I say that, Jimenez has done well to create the space, and he's fed Rayan on the near side. Rayan, nice ball inside, feeds Tavernier. Tavernier now to Adams. Adams, ball to the box, is headed away initially by Ballard. It will though fall to Truffert, edge of the penalty area. He links up well with Senesi, now with Scott. Floated ball onto the near side is a good one, brought down well by Tyler Adams. He's got the overlapping run of Jimenez if he chooses to use him. Instead we'll go inside to Tavernier, who I had down as starting as a left winger, but it looks like he's going to play in the 10 with David Brooks playing on the left hand side. Here is Brooks now, lays it off to Senesi. Every outfield player for Bournemouth in Sunderland territory and deep in Sunderland territory as well. Truffert 1-on-1 with Talby. What can he do? Links up well with Brooks. Lovely 1-2 between the two of them. Trufair, left-hand side is away from Chemston Talby. Referee, though, says no foul as Trufair hits the deck. Good chance comes in from Senesi on Diarra. And Bournemouth now are forced all the way back to James Hill, deep inside their own half. A good spell there for the Cherries, but they couldn't get the goal-scoring opportunity away. And they'll feel hard done by that Trufair wasn't given a free kick.
Yeah, it's getting, I think Bournemouth now just realise they need to play with intensity to actually match the Sunderland's start. So it's a bit even Steven, loads of challenges, lots of duels on the pitch, and but again, free kick in a crossing opportunity, the ball never got into the area. It was like a half-hearted attempt from Ray on it eventually, but I think Bournemouth need to do better with the set pieces. It just why bring the centre halves up when the ball never gets to them?
Do you think maybe they recognise that they very much don't have the height advantage against the Sunderland side, who have been very, very good defensively this season, and they just think, actually, rather than swinging the ball in and giving the ball away, let's keep the ball and try and create the pressure on the floor. It'll be interesting to see how that progresses throughout the game. But Ballard now trying to play out from the back, has been challenged well by Tavernier, and the ball's out of play for Bournemouth, throwing over on the far side. Ruby then is challenged in the midfield, and then Habib Diarra is fouled by Tyler Adams, and both sides now getting rather frustrated 15 minutes in with the refereeing decisions. On that occasion, I think they got it right. Tyler Adams looked like he went through the back of his man, but we're not exactly seeing free-flowing football at the minute, are we?
No, I think the first 5 minutes from Sunderland was actually brilliant from Sunderland point of view. After that, it's turned into a really like a proper good old English football match. This with loads of duels, lots of intensity, not so much quality going forward. But it's an entertaining watch still. But looking at now, Bournemouth are pressing really hard. They're trying to stop Sunderland playing out from the back. And then, just to say that, they just drift off with the press. Yeah,
it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I really like the Sunderland lineup that have been put out by Regis Labrie going into this one, because Brian Brobby's injured, and you think maybe you play Wilson Isidore instead, or maybe Bertrand Traore through the middle, a bit more of a physical presence. But what they've gone with is Elijah Mayenda up front, a player who will run at defenders and run in behind. He's done brilliantly well dropping deep there to link up in midfield, and he's forced Senesi to give away a throw-in over on the far side. But I just think having Mayenda through the middle gives them a little bit more directness up top. But they have, of course, still got Isidore and Traore on the bench if they want that more physical option up front. They've got the options out wide in Nilson Angulo, Harrison Jones and Chris Rigg if they need it. They are a little bit light at the moment, Sunderland, with plenty of injuries. I'll break off because the ball's just gone into the box, but it'll be easily cleared away in the end by James Hill. But you've got Mundell, Sirkin, Brobby, Mukiele, Tarbi and Reynaldo all out injured at the moment, which... this is the reason why they spent as much money as they did, Sunderland, and brought in this many players, because you are going to get injuries in your first season in the Premier League, and they're pretty well covered. There's a ball in behind looking for Trey Hume. Has it been kept in? Referee says yes. Mayenda inside the penalty area trying to create the space. It'll eventually be cleared away by Bournemouth, and I think the flag has gone up for the ball to go out of play. I'm not sure why that didn't go up immediately, but here we are, and it's going to be a goal kick for Bournemouth. It's
obviously because of VAR they couldn't raise the flag straight away, but it looked like it was out by quite some margin. But you mentioned the Sunderland the squad, basically. I think obviously recruitment, it's going to be one of the best promotion side recruitment for Sunderland. To get so many, really, like Granit Xhaka, to get a player like that into this team, it's just, with all the experience, just phenomenal. And very tricky for promoted teams to actually be successful with the recruitment. We looked at the last 3 seasons. There's not been many points from the promoted teams.
Great ball from Ballard. Ball to put in. There's a goal. It's a brilliant ball in behind for Dan Ballard to feed Habib Diarra straight towards goal. Is saved by Petric, but that man Elijah Mayenda is there to tap in from close range. 18 minutes gone. It's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1.
Yes, the shot into the goal is decent, but that's a goalkeeper mistake from Petrovic. The rebound straight out to Mayenda, who couldn't miss. But Sunderland, they probably deserve it. They've been the better side going forward. I don't think there's been any attempts from Bournemouth yet on the goal, apart from that cross in towards Krupi. And looking at that again, I think the goalkeeper should do better there.
He maybe should. Let's just see a replay of it now. I mean, the defensive line is all over the place. Marcus Senesi has got no idea where he's supposed to be. Plays Habib Diarra on by a mile. It's a good effort from Diarra. I don't think it's a bad save from Petric, but I think you're right. I do think he puts it into the danger area, and then Mayenda all on his own inside the penalty area to tap in for 1-0. Again, it's Senesi who leaves him open. It's his first Premier League goal of the season for Eliza Mayenda. Absolute delight for Sunderland and for Regis Lebray. That decision to start the Spaniard has paid off this afternoon. He scored 10 goals in all competitions last season for the Black Cats and was so important in that final run towards the end of the season. Well, he's got his first Premier League goal this afternoon. An absolute delight for him and for Sunderland. But Eric, I still think that you're a bit disappointed with Georgi Petrovic.
Yeah, that's. I could see. He actually gets a hand to the ball. He actually tried to almost punch the ball from the floor. He just mishits the ball with his hand and he slices off straight into Mayenda. And isn't it so nice to see a player that actually was part of the promotion campaign still featuring from a promoted team?
Well, the initial pass through to Noah Sadiq, to Habib Diarra, was from Dan Ballard. A beautiful ball forward. He obviously was part of the promotion side. Trey Hume still involved, heavily involved so far this season. Now break off. Here comes Sunderland again, looking for the kill. And Mayenda feeds Talby, edge of the penalty area, lays off. Siddiqui thought about the shot. Instead, back to Talby. Talby trying to create the space. Bournemouth have got bodies back, but Talby still with the ball into the box. That should have been more. That should have been more fruitful for Sunderland. There were a 3-on-3 there for a moment, and in the end, it breaks down. But Bournemouth need to make sure they do not concede a second in quick succession.
Yeah, that's Sunderland. They were like 5 against 4 there, and I think maybe a shot from Diarra and Siddiqui outside the box might have been better. Eventually, it was a bit too many passes and just rolled into the goalkeeper. But Sunderland back in the command of this game, and I'm really impressed by how they're taking this game to Bournemouth. Remember, Bournemouth, they're in decent form. They're 3 wins and 3 draws from the last 6. The sort of post-Semenyo effect not really happened to Bournemouth. And a player like I've been really impressed with for Bournemouth lately is Ryan. Not seen him at all today.
No, we haven't. In 8 games this season where Sunderland have scored first, that's a foul throw from Trufair. I can't believe he's gotten away with that.
It just doesn't exist anymore.
No, it mustn't do. That was dreadful from the Frenchman. But in 8 games that Sunderland have scored first this season, they are yet to lose. As here they come again. Mayenda, born to the box, is overhit. That's straight out of play for a goal kick. They've won 5, drawn 3 when they've scored first. So let's wait and see how the rest of this game goes. I'm starting to lean more towards you. I do think Petrovic has got to push it back towards where it's come from, doesn't he?
I think it's a really poor. I think a really poor goalkeeper, because it's basically the job for a goalkeeper is to not just save it. It's just to get the ball away from the danger zone, and it's straight across goal. It probably won't be seen as a goalkeeping mistake as such, but I think Petrovic is very disappointed with that.
I think he will be. I'm equally as disappointed, if not more disappointed, with Senesi, because the positioning in the first place is dreadful. And I look at Bournemouth's bench and I see Bafode Diakite and Veljko Milosavljevic, who every time they play I'm so incredibly impressed with them. But Andoni Iraola, it just seems he seems scared to drop Senesi. I think James Hill's a fantastic centre-half, and he's played brilliantly this season at centre-half when he's needed to. But Senesi, time and time again, continues to let Bournemouth down, and I do not understand the persistence in playing him when Diakite and Milosavljevic are on the bench. But here he is now, Senesi on the ball in an attacking sense for Bournemouth. Moves on to the left-hand side for Brooks, one-on-one with Gertruida. Wants to create the space. He's got the overlapping run of Trufair. We'll move it towards the penalty area for Tavernier. Tavernier trying to get away from Diarra. Just go back to Senesi. Senesi then feeds James Hill. Square for Adams, back to Hill again. Down the line, it's a good ball for Rayan. Rayan one-on-one with Trey Hume, gets it onto his left boot. Ball into the box isn't a great one. Easily dealt with by Alderete. But Bournemouth will have the ball back along the halfway line with Hill. Hill squared up by Mayenda, will play it down the line for Jimenez. Jimenez is away from Lafay. Here comes Alex Jimenez, ball to the box. It's a good one. It should have been tapped in. Somehow Bournemouth haven't scored. Brilliant ball from Alex Jimenez. Superb run to get down the line. Ball across the 6-yard box is absolutely fantastic. Eli Junior Krupi misses it on the first attempt, but I tell you what, Gertruida, that is world-class defending.
Absolute fantastic defending. He's slight, because that's a tap in from David Brooks,
isn't it?
David Brooks on the far post, and he basically he dives to the ball, but then he actually kicks the ball as well. So if you just dive to the ball, they may not even move. So there's a corner kick now. It's best chance for Bournemouth.
Yeah, best chance of the game so far for Bournemouth. What can he do though from this corner? Ball in is punched away well by Robin Roves. Alex Jimenez with the first time strike from distance. That's been blocked and eventually cleared away by Habib Diarra. Only his father is Alex Scott on the left hand side. 1-on-1 with Sadiki. What can Scott do here? Right foot to ball towards the back. But headed towards goal. I think Alderete gets a touch in to take away from Hill. Here's Tavernier now though. Lays off to Truffert, and then what's happened here? I think the flag's gone up against Tavernier, and Sunderland live to fight another day. That's better though from Bournemouth, more direct.
Much better, and it's good player to actually win the ball back twice after Sunderland first won it. So it's better with the intensity from Bournemouth, and offside there. I think that's one of those that VAR might have a check and a look at if the ball's gone into the back of the net. But that chance for we've looked at the goal now, but that chance for Brooks at the far post, so close. So yeah, it's a good game of football. 25 minutes. I think 100% we'll get more goals in this game.
Yeah, I think we will as well. It's been really, really good so far. Haven't been any goals so far though in the Championship. It's still Derby 0, Blackburn 0, Leicester 0, Norwich 0, Portsmouth 0, Hull 0. There have been a couple of goals in League One, all in one game though, as it's Leyton Orient 1, Barnsley 1, still 0-0 between Northampton and Peterborough. In League 2 it's 0-0 between Cambridge and MK Dons, and 0-0 between Shrewsbury and Walsall, and 0-0 between Swindon and Bristol Rovers. So I don't think we can complain too much about this game at all, given the lack of goals across England so far in the 12:30 kickoffs. Long ball sent forward towards Habib Diarra. He's been brought down by Marco Senesi, but the referee says no fouls. The ball bounces out of play for a goal kick. It's interesting with Habib Diarra. He looks to be playing in more of a number 10 role, much more advanced than Sadiki and Granit Xhaka. It's good to see him back from injury. He's impressed since coming back from injury and back from the African Cup of Nations. Of course, got his first goal for Sunderland not too long ago. If I'm not mistaken, I thought he got his first goal for Sunderland, but I think it may have gone down as an own goal. Did it? No, he did get that goal against Oxford United, and he also scored as well against Burnley. He should have had two against Burnley, but I think one went down as an own goal. But it is good to see him back playing some decent football.
As I said, it's almost like a free roll behind Mayenda today, Diarra, and he's got a bit of an engine on him. So it's on the Sadiki on the ball there. That's a foul again, and it's Senesi who's possible will get a yellow card there. So have a look at that. That's nasty from.
Good tackle.
Yeah, so have a look at that.
Yeah, straight through the back of him. No chance of getting the ball there, has he?
Even if he gets the ball doesn't move. So when the ball doesn't move, it's irrelevant if you don't get the ball, if it's not a decisive touch.
Yeah.
So very lucky not to get a yellow card.
He's done that thing, hasn't he, that footballers do when they immediately apologise. They sometimes get away. They sometimes get away with it. I think that's a yellow card personally, but a chance now from the free kick for Sunderland. We know how dangerous they are from set pieces. At the minute it looks like Alex Scott is marking Dan Ballard. Ball in towards Ballard is overhit and it's too flat, and in the end it's straight into the hands of Georgi Petrovic, who wants to get Bournemouth moving quickly. He's held up well by Mayenda and Diarra there, but eventually the ball is balled out to Alex Scott, who will play it down the line towards Rayan, who's been a revelation for Bournemouth since signing in the January transfer window. The young Brazilian, he's really impressed me so far. The former Vasco da Gama man. He's already got himself 2 goals in 4 games in the Premier League, as Tavernier almost latches onto that ball down the line, but the pass is intercepted by Dan Ballard. Mayenda's then brought down, but referee says no foul, and Bournemouth move the ball forward quickly. Tavernier with the effort, saved by Roos. It's a spill, and then the second save is brilliant to deny Alex Scott from close range. Poor from Roos initially, but he makes up for the error. Fantastic. I'll bring Eric in a second, because here come Bournemouth again with Rayan down the near side. Goes one way, then the other. Wants to get away from Enzo Lefebvre. Feeds Alex Jimenez. Jimenez now with Tavernier. Back to Jimenez once again. Here's Tyler Adams. Over onto the far side for Senesi. Chip ball into the box will be headed away by Alderete, but only as far as a corner. And Sunderland got more defending to do.
Yeah, but as I said, brilliant shot from Tavernier to create that chance. But Roof's obviously, I would have had a go at him if that's been a goal, because it's a terrible mistake to give the rebound first. But they exploited it, just a silly mistake by Granit Xhaka in midfield. So they won the ball out to Tavernier, and so close for Alex Scott on the rebound there to put the ball into the back of the net. But it's corner kick for Bournemouth. There's definitely more in the game now.
Yeah, they certainly are. in the last few minutes or so. Brooks, low ball into the box, it's flicked on towards the edge. Jimenez with the effort, blocked well, and here comes Sunderland on the counter-attack. No, Talby's giving it away, although he's forcing Truefair back, and he can't quite get on the end of the loose ball, the Moroccan. That was interesting from Bournemouth. When that initial ball got rolled in low, I thought he's going to hit this towards the near post, but the flick on comes in from Rayan towards the edge of the penalty area, where Jimenez, of all players, goes for goal. I mean, that's an interesting one, that given that Alex Jimenez has only scored one goal in the Premier League all season. But an odd corner kick routine that didn't quite go the way I thought it would from Bournemouth.
No, it's it seems like Bournemouth have we basically don't want to put the ball into the mixer. So this time they had read the memo from that short corner. I thought it was a really poor corner, but the flick onto Jimenez, and the shot, it's a decent shot from Jimenez inside the D, and if that goes past the Forest of players in the middle, it will. Effectively, it's a goal because the goalkeeper can't see it unless it hits the goalkeeper. They were shouting for a penalty as well because it was, I think it hit in the Sunderland arm, but it could never ever be a penalty. But I think it bounced off another player before it hit the arm.
Yeah, here come Bournemouth once again down the left-hand side. Brooks linking up well with Tavernier before going back to Truefair. Truefair now feeds at Tyler Adams, who will just lay it off to Marcos Senesi. Senesi now steps into Sunderland territory. No one closing down the Argentinian before Habib Diarra with a quick check back forces the Argentinian backwards. Half hour gone in the Premier League. 12:30 kick-off this afternoon. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. That lies on my end of tapping. The difference between the two sides at the moment is Hill brings it forward for Bournemouth now. Feeds Rayan down the near side. What can the Brazilian do here? Lays it off to Alex Scott. Strike from distance is wide of the post in the end, and he's not happy. Eli Junior Krupi took a tumble as that shot came in. It'll be interesting to see why he hit the deck. He didn't look anything too untoward, and no, nothing really at all there. I think he may have been accidentally caught there by Marcus Senesi, and he's still on the floor here, Eli Junior Krupi. It's an interesting one, but yeah, that shot comes in from Alex Scott. He's not overly happy with himself for how that shot went. Marcus Tavernier is not overly happy here with Omar Alderete. Eric, he didn't look like there was too much in it, but no. It's left Eli Junior Krupi in a heap.
Yeah, it was on the floor. I think while the ball was on his way out, so the ball was in play, so he technically could have given a foul if the referee thought so. But I think once you get the shot on goal these days, they tend not to give a foul, even if it's a late challenge on the person who's actually shooting on goal. So I don't think there's anything in that, but Scott should have done better on the shot. Bit quite similar to that Krupi shot earlier on. Needs to be on the outside of the boot instead of the inside.
Yeah, it does. Here comes Sunderland though with the ball back once again. Back to the goalkeeper Robin Roos, who's made an error here. He's been brought down by Eli Junior Krupi. Oh, referee! That is not a good decision. The free kick's been given against Bournemouth. Tyler Adams, Alex Scott and David Brooks are absolutely furious. Robin Roos took a chance up against Eli Junior Krupi. The Frenchman came away with the ball after Roos almost fell under the challenge. Bournemouth are absolutely furious the foul has been given against them, and I think, Eric, we're both in the same mindset here.
Absolutely, because basically the goalkeeper is outside the penalty area, so he's effectively an outfield player. So the goalkeeper rules touching the goalkeeper doesn't apply when you're outside the box. And I didn't actually see where the ball fell to. I think Sunderland had a clear sight on goal if the free kick had not been given, but yeah, very lucky there. But they're going forward again, Bournemouth. They're pushing for a goal before half time now.
Tavernier inside the penalty, a left-footed strike saved by Roofs. It will fall on the edge of the penalty area. That's surely a foul there on Tyler Adams. Yes, it is. And then I think, is that going to be a yellow card given for kicking the ball away? It may well be.
I think it might be. I think it might be just for the foul. So
we'll have to wait and see. I think Siddiqui has been given a yellow card for kicking the ball away. What happened there was Habib Diarra crashes into Tyler Adams as the ball falls to the American on the edge of the penalty area. We'll just see a replay of it now. Yeah, it is. And then Jared Gillett, as he's blowing his whistle, sees that the ball has been booted away by Noah Siddiqui, and the referee gives a yellow card to the midfielder. So Siddiqui, the first player to go into the book of Jared Gillett. Really good play from Bournemouth once again. Capitalise on the error from Talby, who's given the ball away on a couple of occasions now. And, they did create the shooting opportunity through Tavernier, saved by Roofs, and then the ball fell to Adams on the edge of the penalty area, and Habib Diarra panics and brings him down, which, I'll be honest with you, if anybody's going to run onto that ball on the edge of the box, I'm relatively happy if it's Tyler Adams. He's got 2 goals in the Premier League this season, but he's never been much of a goal scorer, the holding midfielder. And ultimately, this is going to be a really good opportunity. There's something in the water that the Tavernier brothers drink, because they're both fantastic at set pieces. Obviously, James Tavernier, playing for Rangers, is fantastic at set pieces. His brother Marcus is standing over this one, along with Alex Scott. I would argue, with the ball being about 30 yards away from goal on the left-hand side of the D, it suits a right footer more. So I would say it should be Alex Scott who hits this, but I think it is going to be Tavernier. Indeed it is, and he forces a good save from Robin Roofs. Goalkeeper diving low to his right, puts in a good save and puts out a play for a throw on the far side.
It's a brilliant free kick.
It
curls it around the wall, so perfectly executed. But it's a decent save by the goalkeeper. And this time, I like to see the goalkeeper. He punches away from danger, and it's out for a throw into Bournemouth on the left-hand side. But nice little curl in that ball from the Tavernier. There's definitely something in that water.
Ball launched in long from the throw-in. There are players on the floor. I think the referee is going to ask for the throw-in to be retaken, but he's going to ask for 2 of them to come over. And again, we will have another stoppage at play for a set piece, which just feels needless at this stage. I think I can only imagine that the Premier League are currently in conversations now, as we speak, about what rules they can implement next season to stop this, because week in, week out we're seeing games stopped, I reckon collectively for about 5 minutes each, for needless challenges like that inside the penalty area. It's Hume and Senesi that are battling away at the front post, but it just feels like we lose so much football because of it. We are now
probably lost a minute now.
Oh yeah, 100%. We are now going to get the ball launched in by James Hill. Again, players hit the deck. Again, it's players of both teams asking for a foul. Nothing given. Hill will then swing the return ball back in. It's been gathered brilliantly by Robin Roofs out of the air. We'll just slow things down a moment. Let's just have a look. Was there a foul in the penalty area? No, absolutely nothing whatsoever. It's players throwing themselves. Again, it's Senesi, who's been disgraceful so far in this game, to say the least. As Mayenda tries to turn the ball around the corner after the long ball forward. His pass is intercepted. Then Troida puts in an interception of his own. But it's just a mess, Eric, isn't it? Every time.
I think the... Basically, obviously, the referee's been they're instructed to do the right thing, letter of the law, to stop a foul before it's actually become a foul because the ball is out of play. But yeah, to stop it, and there's not much difference when the ball goes in. It's basically they're fouling each other or they're not fouling. They're just holding on to each other. It's not a foul either way. Just get on with it.
Ryan's been brought down on the near side. Referee though doesn't give a free kick, much to the dismay of the young Brazilian. Sunderland will continue with the ball in possession. Long ball forward to Mayenda, brings it down, I thought, well, but actually he's miscontrolled it, and Bournemouth can get it clear out for a throw-in on the near side. Outside of the goal, he's not overly been involved so far this afternoon, Elijah Mayenda, but if things stay the same way, I don't think Regis Labrie will mind too much. There has been a goal in League 2, by the way. Walsall taking the lead away from home against a resurgent Shrewsbury Town. It's for Carson with the goal in that one. Still 0-0 in all of the Championship games, and no other goals to bring you off in League 1 or in the other games in League 2. Alex Scott launches a long ball forward looking towards Kertroida. He wasn't looking towards Kertroida, but he found Kertroida. Another interception made by the Dutchman. Eventually Bournemouth will feed Brookso over on the far side. Links up well with Trufair. Trufair down the line for Tavernier. Has he been fouled from behind? Referee says yes, it'll be another free kick. We must be getting towards 23 kicks given away in this one. It's been constant so far, the amount of fouls given away by these two sides. Apparently we're only up to 10, but I'm not convinced by that. It feels like there have been more.
It feels that, but it's been a lot of those challenges that the referee's not given as well. So it's very niggly. It's not really. It's not bad fouls. It's just fouls, but it's a scrappy game at the moment. Bournemouth are trying to get back into it before half-time. Now they're trying to put the ball into the box, and we can see why they're not trying to normally put the ball into the box. That was terrible.
It was poor from David Brooks. Bournemouth don't have the ball back inside the centre circle with Alex Jimenez. Under a bit of pressure there from Habib Diarra, who's asking his teammates to step up with him. In the end of the ball's played to Tavernier, 35 yards away from goal. Down the line now for Rayan. Rayan onto his right boot, does really well here. The Brazilian born to the box. That went out for a corner, for a goal kick, I should say, surely. Has the flag gone up from the linesman? Eventually it does. Why have they started doing this? I knew that the flags got delayed for offside, but I thought the ball's out, they wave and they stop it. That's twice now they've delayed flagging for it to be out for a goal kick.
I think it's the same for an offside, basically, just in case the ball wasn't out and it's a goal. So obviously, but the thing is, the linesman can still raise the flag. The referee doesn't have to blow the whistle anyway. But it's you said that it was good play by Ryan, but I think Trey Hume's done well against the young Brazilian to stop him going down the line to actually get the crosses into the box. So, as I said, another player that was part of the promotion team last season. So it's decent left back play by Trey Hume.
Yeah, it was defending that really quite well in the end. Long ball sent forward again by Sunderland. He's headed away this time by Marcos Senesi. He's gathered in midfield well by Krupi. Lays it off to Rayan. Rayan away from a couple, but he's going sideways. He'll then fire the ball onto the left-hand side, and it's a good ball as well to feed David Brooks. Talbot back there doing a bit of defending, but Brooks still gets the ball in. It's overhit. Too far in front of Tavernier and Krupi, and it's out of play for a goal kick. It's the right idea from David Brooks. Bournemouth move the ball quickly, they move it well, but they can't quite exploit the space that opened up there along the Sunderland back four.
No, it's that's the right thing, but it's overhit, and it has to be like a perfect cross, because they're now 2 against 4 in the middle there, and Sunderland, all the defenders are back defending that, so they're doing really well in defence at the moment. Sunderland when they're defending deep, and they're edging it. The Black Cats at the moment, just something with their play today that I'd really liked. Just fantastic intensity. They're winning fouls in the middle of the park, and something I didn't expect before the game started. I had Bournemouth as quite big favourites.
Yeah, so did I as well, but Sunderland have done well enough, should we say, to hold the lead at this stage. Another foul given away this time by Tyler Adams. He's having a really poor game so far. I think the American been a little bit disappointed with him so far. But ultimately now with 5 minutes left to go of normal time in this first half, it's Sunderland with the ball just inside Bournemouth territory. It's a free kick for Granit Xhaka. He'll play it along the floor to feed Habib Diarra. Back to Xhaka. Xhaka, ball forward to Lefay. Lefay, edge of the penalty area, strike towards goal, was deflected, now to play for a corner. Looked like a good effort from Enzo Lefay, struck it well. It's caused somebody in the Bournemouth shirt a little bit of discomfort. It's Marcos Senesi again, he's hit the deck as the ball bounced out of play for a corner. But he really caught as well, Enzo Lefay, and I'm not surprised it's left Senesi a little bit stricken.
That was dipping towards the bottom corner, if that's gone on the target. So a decent shot from the player's going to take the corner kick now, Lefay. So decent chance for Sunderland now to get play a bit higher up the pitch, and maybe they can just hold on and get this second goal before half time.
Lefay, corner, swung towards the near post. It's a poor one looking towards Alderete. Scott gets it cleared on the second time of asking after his first touch was poor. Headed back towards the danger area there by Trey Hume. Cletroida will challenge. Eventually though it's gathered by James Hill, who will feed Tavernier. Tavernier down the line for Rayan. Rayan now trying to create the space, moving inside to Adams once again. He's challenged brilliantly well in midfield there by Cletroida. And then Mayenda will win it back and lay it off to Chemsdin Talby. Talby now into the midfield for Xhaka. Xhaka back inside his own half for Alderete. Onto the near side now for Siddiqui. Siddiqui down the line for Lefay, who's been heavily involved in this game so far, particularly in possession. Xhaka held up well there by Tavernier, will go back to Siddiqui. He'll go all the way back to Robin Roofs. He'll move it over onto the far side for Ballard. Ballard down the line for Cletroida. Cletroida down the line. His pass is blocked well by Truffert and out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. But I think both managers will go in content with their side. Sunderland will probably be a little bit happier. But Regis Labrie will be sat there thinking, probably should have done a fair bit better. They'll feel aggrieved that they didn't get a penalty earlier on in the game, but they'll also feel as well since the goal they should have created a few more chances.
Yeah, it's been very few chances for Sunderland after the goal, and Bournemouth have had a fair few half chances. A shot from Tavernier from the left hand side, the cross in towards Brooks from the right hand side from Rayan is probably the best chances for Bournemouth. We had a bit of a spell, but and obviously that shot that was spilled by Roofs that almost created a chance. I think it was Tavernier as well with that shot. So yeah, 2 minutes to go. Bournemouth don't really look like getting back into it before half time, so I think the team talk now for Bournemouth will be quite an important one. And they need to get up the intensity in the second half.
Yeah, they certainly do. Free kick swung in by Senesi. It's headed back across goal by Rayan, not properly cleared by Sunderland, but it's headed back into the danger zone there by Habib Diarra, but it's going to be held onto by Robin Rose before it goes out for a corner kick. Rose now just bowls the ball out to Ballard before launching a long ball over the top towards Mayenda. Header won by Hill. Challenge in the midfield by Xhaka. The ball bounces to Gertruida. Gertruida down the line looking towards Truffert. Truffert down the line will try and feed Brooks. Ball been put out of play though by Gertruida. Eventually though the offside flag has gone up deep inside Bournemouth territory. I don't reckon we'll see more than 2 or 3 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half. It's normally the mandatory 2, isn't it? That's added on.
1 or 2 in the first half and 4 or 5 in the second half. It's not the standard. And there's been a few fouls, but I don't think they give add-on time for just normal fouls. Lots of experts think that should be the case with stopping players. With a delay attack, but now Bournemouth go forward. Good counter attack on the left.
Yeah, Scott moves it well through midfield, feeds Brooks. Brooks looking for Tavernier. Poor, really from Tavernier as he then looks to try and move the ball into the penalty area, trying to force the issue really more than anything. Some of them though look as though they're going to settle in and try and keep this at 1-0 until half time. Bournemouth doing everything they can to get back level. Here's Jimenez driving forward. Edge of the penalty area, ball down the line for Rayan. Is overhit, but the Brazilian will keep it in. Tries to win a corner. I think has won a corner off of Trey Hume as well. Good bit of play there from the Brazilian. Recovers well from that poor pass from Alex Jimenez. How much is the fourth official going to add on at the end of this first half? 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm getting quite good at guessing the added time.
Yes, I said 1 or 2, so I hedged my bet there. But so you win.
Yeah, you can take the win there, Eric.
No, you win.
Perfect. I'll take it. What can Bournemouth do in these final 2 minutes though? Brooks corner swinging towards the 6-yard box. Good header away from Omar Alderete. It will find its way back though to David Brooks. Here's Alex Scott's edge of the penalty area. Ball towards the back post. Hume will let it run. Will it run out for a goal kick? I'm not sure it will. In fact, Hume does brilliantly well to see it out for a goal kick and get someone the ball back once more. They'll probably be able to kill the final the next sort of 20-30 seconds or so with this goal kick, and Bournemouth are probably going to go in at half time trailing by a goal to 0, but it has been a really entertaining first half, it has to be said, and Regis Lebris will be the manager who goes in by the looks of things ahead in this one. Long goal kick though, you'd assume to be sent forward here by Robin Rose just to get the ball away from danger. Indeed it is launched long again towards Mayenda. This time he does win the header up against James Hill and feeds Talby over on the far side. Holds it up really well and then gives the ball away. Poor from Chemsy Talby, but he's won it back really well. Good from the young Moroccan. Long ball then launched forward by Ballard. It's headed away by Senesi. Adams then can't gather it in midfield. That's surely a high boot against Granit Xhaka as he kicked Granit Xhaka unintentionally in the head. Referee says no foul. Sunderland won't mind though. They've won the ball back. Xhaka poor pass looking towards Diarra, and again Bournemouth have the ball deep inside their own half, but under pressure surrounded by blue shirts. Here's Jimenez though, bit of space in front of him on the near side, trying to end the half in a flurry. Here comes Jimenez, driving towards the penalty area, feeds Rayan, better ball, Rayan inside the penalty area, can he get the cross in? He slips as he puts the ball in, Creepy gets there, but he was never going to score from there, and the ball's out of play for a goal kick. Final action of the first half was to see Bournemouth come forward on the counter-attack, but they're unable to make the most of it. Jimenez looks really good going forward, but unable to really cause any real problems, and in the end the chance goes to begging for Bournemouth, but the half-time whistle has gone at the end of this first 45 at the Vitality Stadium. It's Elijah Mayenda's tapping the difference between the two sides. Both teams have had opportunities to get extra goals, but at half-time it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Harib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but ultimately it's the Black Cats that lead, and at half-time it is Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. Half-time at the Vitality, it's Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. It's been a fascinating first half on the south coast. Sunderland have the lead thanks to a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. Dan Ballard played a lovely ball forward to Habib Diarra, who's played onside terribly by Marco Senesi. His shot was saved by Georgi Petrovic, but Mayenda was there for the tap-in. Sunderland probably should have had a penalty in the early periods. Bournemouth have created a couple of half chances, but all... And it's a very warm welcome back to this independent off-tube studio-based commentary of this Premier League fixture at the Vitality Stadium between Bournemouth and Sunderland. The two sides went in at half-time with Bournemouth trailing by 1-0, courtesy of a tap-in from Eliza Mayenda. But they have, however, made a change at half-time, have the Cherries. Evan Nielsen has returned to the side. He comes on to replace David Brooks. It to me, didn't look like that was an injury change. This looks like it's tactical, and they may be going to move things around a little bit. Eric, it's myself, Luke Ashurst, alongside me is Eric Stagnes to take you through all the action. I think, Eric, what they'll probably do is Evan Nielsen will play as the number 9, Krupi will play as the 10, and Tavernier will go out one to the left-hand side.
Exactly. So David Brooks actually played left wing in the first half. It wasn't too bad. He was involved in the attacking play, but so Evan Nielsen, number 9, instead of Krupi as the free man drifting behind him, and then Tavernier maybe to get his whipped crosses in from the left in the second half, but they need to get it in free-flowing football, not at set pieces, because Sunderland is so confident and so comfortable when the ball from set piece goes into the middle. They just win every ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll run you through the lineups in full in a moment or so. No changes made by Regis Labrie at half-time. Understandably, his side were pretty impressive in that first half, given how poor they've been away from home so far this season. Lovely footwork from Lefay, and that's a brilliant ball through. Diarra to double the lead. Habib Diarra, good save from Petrovic, and it's out of play for a corner. Is it, or did it come back off of Habib Diarra? I think it's come back off of the midfielder, and it was saved by Petrovic. What a bit of play that is from Enzo Lefay. What a ball forward to Habib Diarra. And to be honest, Eric, it should probably be 2-0.
It should be 2-0, and Diarra, apart from the finish, which is just straight at the goalkeeper, it's just everything right. Lefay with disguised pass behind the back four, and then his goalkeeper saves it, and it hits Diarra's head while he's on the floor. If that ball's gone towards goal, it would have been a goal. It would have been like a comical goal for Sunderland. But great start on the second half from Sunderland, and Lefay has been very impressive from the first minute. He probably should have had a penalty in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's been really, really good, hasn't he, the Frenchman? A reminder that there are a number of other games across England that kicked off at 12:30 along with ours. None in the Premier League. We are the Premier League early kickoff, but games in the Championship that are available in this service. Derby trail Blackburn by a 0-0. It's Leicester 0, Norwich 0, and it's Portsmouth 0, Hull City 0. There are also other games in League 1 and League 2 that I will try and keep you updated on throughout the rest of the 90 minutes, but our focus will remain on this game between Bournemouth and Sunderland. Sunderland have started the second half well. They started the first half brilliantly well, clearly looking to try and go for a similar sort of mould, I guess, and try and get that early goal like they did in that first 45. Ball sent forward by Sunderland from Bournemouth's goal kick is dealt with by the Cherries and gathered in midfield. Here is Jimenez. Lays it off to Rayan. Rayan with a long ball forward looking towards Evan Nielsen, who will flick on towards Krupi. Rufso will get it clear. It's been gathered though in midfield by Scott. Feeds Evan Nielsen. To Rayan once again. Rayan down the line for Jimenez, who was very impressive going forward in that first half, it has to be said. Didn't do a huge amount defensively. Here's Tyler Adams, who had a really disappointing first 45. Back to Jimenez once more, trying to create the space. Goes one way, then the other. He's held up well by Trey Hume, who actually, I say held up well, he's just stood there. He's not doing any defending. Jimenez, though, doesn't want to do anything with the ball. He lays it off to Scott. Here's Jimenez once again. Back to Tyler Adams. It's inside now for Senesi. Senesi chip left-footed ball into the penalty area. It's dreadful. Easily gathered in the end by Robin Ruff. So Bournemouth look blunt going forward.
Yeah, it's you said Trey Hume didn't do anything. He didn't need to do anything. He was just waiting for Ryan's move, and it's Sunderland now started the second half as they did in the first half. They're much better intensity than Bournemouth, and now they're just calming things down in midfield. But that second goal should have come from Diarra. That's the best chance of the game apart from the goal.
Yeah, certainly was. Well, ball set forward will not be gathered by Jemison Talbot. He's well defended in the end by Senesi. Feeds Truffert, who tries to come down this near side. Decent run from the Frenchman. Back on himself, and we'll go back to Senesi. Senesi now chips a left-footed ball down the line. That's a good ball. Looking for Evan Nielsen. It's been intercepted well, though, by Alderete, who wants to get this ball clear, and in the end just puts it out for a throw-in. I think he was knocked a little bit off balance there, the centre-half, and in the end concedes a throw for Bournemouth. But it does give me a chance to run you through the lineups for both teams. For Bournemouth, it's Petrovic in goal, a back four of Truffert, Senesi, Hill and Jimenez. Midfield two of Scott and Adams, with Krupi Jr., Tavernier and Rayan supporting Evan Nielsen up front. As for Sunderland, it's Roofs in goal, back for Troida, Ballard, Alderete and Hume. Break off, long ball sent in by James Hill, easily headed away though by Alderete. Midfield two Sunderland for Siddiqui and Xhaka, with Talbi, Diarra and Lafay supporting Mayenda up front. A reminder that just the one yellow card was handed out in that first 45 and it went the way of Noah Siddiqui for time wasting, although it felt a little bit harsh given that he kicked the ball away while Jared Gillett was blowing his whistle. But either way, here come Bournemouth down the far side. Jimenez ball in, Tavernier across goal, and it's going to be cleared away in the end by Habib Diarra. Talbi tries to move the ball down the near side. He gives the ball away, but Trufair can't keep it in. Another good opportunity for Bournemouth. They just don't have the bodies in the box to finish it.
That's phenomenal from Tavernier to actually put the ball back into the danger zone. Slightly overhit cross from Jimenez. Just launches it into it and just behind Evan Nielsen in the penalty area. The problem with Bournemouth, as I saw in the first half, they only had two bodies in there against 4 or 5 defenders. So it has to be a pinpoint good pass from Tavernier that to actually get the shot on goal. So the 50-50s then will almost automatically go towards the home side with 5 against 2 in the middle.
Yeah, here come Bournemouth once again in possession. Tavernier, he's away from Trey Hume. Good from Tavernier, he's then barred from behind by Habib Diarra. Surely that's going to be a foul. Referee says he took the ball. Now, Jared Gillett could have said anything there, and I think I'd have said fair enough, except Habib Diarra taking the ball, which he did not do in the slightest. No. Tavernier not happy at all. He's having an odd game, is Jared Gillett.
It's basically, and how many of those, including the penalty in the first half from Lafay, basically a push in the back or just fouls from behind. This time, I think it was a foul towards Tavernier. Referee just waved play on this time. So it's almost like, all right, I did give you a foul last time. I won't give you now. Next time I'll give you one. Because it's going to be more of those challenges, because it's such a physical game in the middle of the park. Proper bit old school English football. This I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's been a good game to say the least. I think we can be pretty happy with the way this game has gone so far. Ball bouncing around now in midfield. Eventually will be gathered by Granit Xhaka. Launches the ball over onto the far side for Trey Hume. He'll play it down the line looking towards Lafay. He's held up well in the end by Jimenez, who wins the throw over on the far side. Again another foul throw from a player in a Bournemouth shirt. Again not given by the officials. Here's Tyler Adams now. Plays it on to the near side for Trufair. Trufair steps into Sunderland territory. He's asking for somebody to come short. He has 2 players short. I love that from footballers. Come short, come short. He has 2 players stood there waiting for the ball and just doesn't pass them the ball. And then Bournemouth will go backwards. Here's Senesi. Across for Tavernier. Tavernier down the line. Pass is intercepted by Lafay. And a play for a throw over on the far side. A chance for Bournemouth to get a hold of the ball once again. There's been a goal in League One. Peterborough have equalised away from home against Northampton. Tom Eves with the opener in that one, but it's Jimmy J Morgan with the goal for Peterborough to equalise. It's still as we were in the other games by the looks of things, although Bristol Rovers, I think, have they taken the lead in this second half against Swindon? No, that was just before half time. Yeah, so no other goals to bring you off just yet in any of the other games. In our game though, 54 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio-based commentary, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. At the minute, it doesn't feel like that's going to change anytime soon. Sunderland relatively comfortable, and Bournemouth, they don't look bad. I think that's the problem. They don't look bad, but I think you've got to look a bit more than not bad to beat Sunderland, don't you? Yeah, I think Bournemouth do it almost like percentage football. Eventually we will score if we just keep attacking, but they attack really well in patches, and then now Sunderland is sort of back into the game again. First 2-3 minutes of the second half, Sunderland were on top, Bournemouth then on top. But it's the precision, it's the final pass into the box. When Bournemouth go forward, they've been really disappointing so far. So not many clear shots on goal from Bournemouth. Tavernier had a couple of shots in the first half straight to the goalkeeper from basically an unfavoured angle. It would have been really, really good shot to get it on goal. So they need to improve. But Sunderland, they've done a fantastic study of this Bournemouth team. Their game plans work perfectly. They've won just twice all season away from home in the Premier League, Sunderland, but they're on track to do so for a third time after losing their unbeaten home record last time out against Fulham. Throw sent forward by Gertruida. Ball bounces around. Challenge comes in from Lafay. And then cleared away well by James Hill. It'll be gathered on the near side though by Israel Gertrude for the throw in. Looking for options around him. Hasn't got anybody showing for him before he launches the ball long down the line towards Mayenda. Adams will fire the ball long once again for Gertrude, and Adams puts a challenge in, and it's now at a point where nobody can get the ball under control in midfield, Eric.
It's basically, I think Tyler Adams had 3 clearances straight up in the air, 50 yards up in the air, 20 yards going forward, and the ball bounces back and forwards. It's really disappointing from a Bournemouth point of view. I think Tyler Adams, he's got a time. He's got technique good enough to actually bring the ball down on the floor, and maybe all right, it's just on the side of his own penalty area, but you have to take a risk and in order to start an attack. So yeah, it's just scrappy at the moment. Sunderland, perfect for them, but yeah, you mentioned Tyler Adams. He's not had a good game, has it?
He's not the type of midfielder you want in a game like this, particularly when you're trailing. You want somebody who's going to be able to move the ball forward. I know that they want the defensive work rate that he offers, but when you've got both Alex Toth and Ryan Christie, who are both more than capable defenders, on the bench, who are much more accomplished when it comes to moving the ball forward, I don't really understand why you'd continue persisting with Tyler Adams, to be brutally honest. But the game continues now with Sunderland in possession. Here's Enzo Lafay. Does well to hold on to it. Lovely turn from the Frenchman. He's up for it this afternoon, you can tell. Now here's Siddiqui, beats Gertrude onto the near side for Talby. Lovely link-up play between himself and Diarra. Can he keep the ball in Talby? He can't. That was a lovely bit of football, and if the pass was slightly under-hit from Habib Diarra, he's in behind there, Chimps and Talby, and it's a really good opportunity.
Yeah, it's the only thing that's bad with that is just a bit too much weight on the ball from Diarra, because he's got acres of space to go into the penalty. Oh, that's a challenge and a half on I think it was Tyler Adams in the middle, and collided with Granit Xhaka. I'm not sure who was first to the ball. I think free kick's given to Tyler Adams. Granit Xhaka has come worse off though.
Yeah, he has come off worse. Tyler Adams thought the free kick had been given against him. How has the free kick not been given against Tyler Adams? I don't really know what Granit Xhaka does there, and that's a really painful one for the Swiss international. I tell you what, it's not a good tackle from Tyler Adams, and in the end, he's the one who's won the free kick.
I wonder if that's for a pull beforehand from not from Xhaka, because a yellow card has now been given to Tyler Adams.
Has he changed his mind about?
Because it's definitely a dangerous play from Tyler Adams, because it basically is with force into Granit Xhaka's ankle. So it looks like it is a foul for in favour of Granit Xhaka. It looks like he changed his mind.
Yeah, he's having such an odd game today, Jared Gillett. I cannot work out.
That looks worse every time you see it. Yeah. It's one of those. Let's say if we gave a straight red there, I'm not sure if VAR would overturn it, but I think yellow card is probably right.
Yeah, it's not a good tackle. Tyler Adams is now continuing to come. He's just said he's won the ball. I mean, he does win the ball, yes, but his studs also go straight through the ankle of Granit Xhaka. We've seen players sent off for less,
and they are checking it.
I think he's gone here, Tyler Adams.
It's excessive force, and you look at his left foot; it's not really on the ground either. So basically, it's effectively he launched in, he can't stop his movement, which means that he can't pull out. And yeah, that's a terrible tackle by Tyler Adams, and
have a look at it.
Yeah, I think it might well be a red card for Adams.
Or has he waved it away? It looked like he gestured that he was going to go look to the monitor. I'll just wait for confirmation. We've just seen a replay of it.
It's in full force.
Can we just what we can appreciate though is originally he gave the free kick against Sunderland. That to me baffles me. We've ended up with, at first, a Bournemouth free kick, and we've now got a potential red card for a Bournemouth player. The refereeing is so odd. I think in the end Tyler Adams is going to get away with it, but I would argue he's fortunate.
Yeah, it's very fortunate there. Definitely, if he's given a straight red, it will never be overturned by VAR. It's one of those. He's lucky that the referee only gave a yellow card, and basically Bournemouth had a foul. It was the foul for Bournemouth.
Yeah, and in the end.
In the end, so I'm not sure whether the referee's he must have deemed a foul before that incident. Basically, there was a challenge on Tyler Adams, maybe for a push. That's the only reason why it could be a foul to Tyler Adams.
Yeah, baffled. Either way, hour gone at the Vitality Stadium. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 1. We are back underway. That's a terrible ball forward and a lovely header. Looking for Mayenda, who can't get it under control. Senesi again. Terrible ball forward. Easily cut out in the midfield there by Siddiqui. Lovely header towards Mayenda, who you can see is visibly frustrated with himself. Huge opportunity for Sunderland.
Yeah, Mayenda just need a good first touch, and he can set himself up on goal inside the penalty area. Just to need a penalty spot, and yeah, it's really poor touch by Mayenda. But what's Senesi doing?
Yeah, I've got no idea. Here come Bournemouth again, though, down the left-hand side. Ball to the box is a poor one, easily dealt with. That's phenomenal from Granit Xhaka. It really is. He had so much space to run into. He is a player of enough quality. He could have played any pass, and instead he goes, "No, I'm just going to win a free kick. I'm just going to kill some more time." It's game management to a world-class degree from Granit Xhaka.
Yes, Granit Xhaka. Well, I said, what a signing for this Sunderland side, and then no surprise, Tyler Adams actually been subbed off, and Ryan Christie, a player I always like him. I know he's very good at just controlling the ball in midfield and then sort of distributing passes left, right, and centre. So it's important for Sunderland to get close to Ryan Christie.
I'll be honest, I love Ryan Christie. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and I think that change probably should have been made at half-time, along with the change to bring on Evan Nielsen. Having said that, we've barely said Evan Nielsen's name in this second half, but yeah, poor day at the office for Tyler Adams, it has to be said, and I like this from Iraola. He's got to go with it, he's got to go for it and try and cause Sunderland some issues, because the second half, I think I used the word blunt earlier on. I mean, they haven't even looked to try and thrust the knife towards Sunderland, have they? Never mind cause any sort of issues, because it's just not working out for them at the moment, as Sunderland controlling this game brilliantly. Here's Granit Xhaka once again. Lovely ball down the line for Lefay. Has he won a corner? No, I think he's been played off him there by Alex Jimenez, but more good play from Xhaka and Lefay down the left-hand side.
Combining brilliantly. That's it is actually a good pass from Granit Xhaka through three players. The gap wasn't big, and it's so close for Lefay to get across into the box there. And Granit Xhaka and Lefay, they're dominating the midfield area completely at the moment. In particular, Granit Xhaka, and just as I said, Lefay just tackles himself and concedes a foul. So that's so much do I know about Lefay. That was he miskicked the ball and then hit the player, and Bournemouth attacking that.
Yeah, here they come now. Tavernier left-hand side, great ball into towards the back post, and it's in. It's into the back of the net, and it's Evan Nielsen with the equaliser. We've just said we've barely mentioned him in this second half, but 63 minutes gone. It's the Brazilian with the leveller, and it's Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1.
Yeah, it's a fantastic cross from the left-hand side. Tavernier on the far side. I'm not actually sure if it was Evan Nielsen or if it was an own goal at the far post, but it's 1-1, and the cross from Tavernier is just phenomenal on the left-hand side, and it's a quick free kick, and Sunderland caught napping there. The ball over to Tavernier. Looking at that cross again into the far post. Is it an OG or is it Evan Nielsen? He didn't really celebrate much.
This will be the angle to tell, won't it? Ball is swung in towards the back post. I think that's off of Evan Nielsen. It's hard to really tell this. Yeah, it's Evan Nielsen. However, Eric, it is off the shoulder, so VAR will have a look at it. Last weekend we saw Alexis McAllister with a goal ruled out after it seemingly hit his shoulder, maybe a little bit lower than this one from Evan Nielsen, but it's definitely hit the shoulder of Evan Nielsen. It's not the head. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's Alderete. It's a deflection from Alderete, so he just get a touch on the ball. I think
this isn't going to stand.
Yeah, it's just so close. It's a very good spot, Luke. I thought it hit his head first, but it definitely hits his shoulder. I think it can be overturned, but
see, this is where I have a bit of a problem, though, Eric. Right? Because we were told at the start of the season that the cut-off point for handball was the sleeve.
So sorry, I think it hits his. It might hit his his knuckles on his fingertips.
He's given it.
Has he given the goal?
He's given the goal. Yeah. Okay, so where I'm at with this is to explain the thing. We were told at the start of the season that if the ball hits a player's sleeve, then it's not handball. That's too high for it to be deemed a handball. By the looks of things, the angles weren't all telling, but it did look like it came off Evan Nielsen's sleeve, and therefore it was going to be okay to stand. I think that's why that goal's ended up being given. But either way, out of nowhere, Bournemouth are back level, and Sunderland are going to have to change their game plan here.
Yeah, or they may stick to the same one and thinking the draw is a good result. I think, from Sunderland point of view, they need to look up the table. They go past Bournemouth with a win today, and if they got a European push, that would be phenomenal for Sunderland, who came through the playoffs last season. So I don't know. I have a feeling that Bournemouth now will be thinking we can go for the 3 points, but now it's a free kick now for Sunderland on the right hand side. Trey Hume will take it and will be swung into the danger zone.
Yeah, he raises his left arm before swinging a right-footed ball towards the penalty spot. It's headed away well in the end by Trufair inside the penalty area. One of the League One games available on this service this afternoon is Leyton Orient at home against Barnsley. Barnsley were 1-0 up through David McGoldrick in the first half. Then Leyton Orient were able to equalise after a goalkeeping error from a free kick. 38-year-old David McGoldrick has gone on to complete his hat-trick in the second half, and it's 3-1 to Barnsley away from home in that one. So big results in League One, as that's going to be a foul in midfield there from Gertruida on Alex Scott. Have a look towards the bench for the visitors. How long do you think it's left until we see Wilson Isidore come on to replace Eliza Mayenda? Because we barely mentioned Mayenda's name in the second half, and it feels like Isidore is a natural replacement for the Spaniard up front.
I think it will happen quite quickly, because Mayenda, he's got a goal, but he's not really in the game at the moment. He's just got a ball there, turns to get dispossessed straight away. Mayenda there with quite a nice turn, but yeah, Isidore probably come on. I wonder if Angulo, the Ecuadorian that was signed in January, maybe he will come on if they're going for the win. But it's such a tricky part for Sunderland. Is will they stick what they got now, or trying to go for the win again?
Yeah, it's
Bournemouth definitely go for the win.
Bournemouth, I think, with the momentum on their side, you're right, I think will go for the victory. It's whether the visitors can hold on, or they choose to go for it themselves. Ball down the near side looking towards Tavernier is intercepted well by Chemsden Talby. He's been disappointing going forward, but he's worked hard defensively, and Gertruida looks absolutely dead on his feet, does the Dutchman, which would worry me a little bit if I was Regis Lebray. The right hand side for Sunderland seems to be struggling just that little bit. If you look at the options they've got on the bench, just about to say Bertrand Traore would be a decent replacement for Chemsden Talby, and that's exactly who it is that's getting stripped off, ready to come on. So I can imagine that's going to be the first change made by Regis Lebray coming into the final 20 minutes or so. You'd imagine that's going to be a straight swap, Traore for Talby, but we'll wait and see. We could also maybe see Traore go up top in place of Eliza Mayenda. That was something I thought was going to happen at the start of the game in the absence of Brian Brobby. Here, though, here's Habib Diarra for Sunderland, trying to squeeze the ball through to Talby. It's through the legs of Senesi, but it took just enough of a deflection to get the ball away from the Moroccan forward. Here come Bournemouth once again, looking to try and play the ball out from the back. Senesi, chip ball to Trufair, difficult one for him to control. Talby with a good chance, sees the ball out of play for a throw-in on the near side. It's a quick throw from Trufair, although he's going to be told he has to wait, because the change I think is now going to be made. Traore is going to come on. It would be great if the camera could pan up to the fourth official's board and we can see who it is that's coming off. It is going to be Chemsden Talby, like I thought it would be. So a straight swap for Sunderland and Regis Lebray, and I think that's probably quite a sensible one.
Yeah, it's fresh legs, and Traore is a decent player on the right hand side. So yeah, like for like, and maybe a bit more attacking threat with Traore than Talby, and so we'll see if that's
a bit more pace, isn't it?
A bit more pace, and it looks like Sunderland now, they actually picked up the press in midfield, and they're doing really well, almost to win the ball again. Oh, it's a foul there from Christie. No, it's not, and the play goes on.
He's having stern words there with Enzo Lefebvre, is Ryan Christie, as they come forward straight towards goal. It's wide of the post. Jimenez from distance, almost causing Robin Ruff some serious problems there. Wide of the post in the end. It all comes from the challenge on Ryan Christie on Enzo Lefebvre, which angered a number of players in blue. Jarrett Gillett waved play on. Lefebvre was left stricken. Jimenez picked up the ball, drove forward, and fires just wide.
Yes, and I think when Jimenez gets there a few times, they got a ball with a lot of grass in front of him. He basically then accelerates and it's a 50-yard pass, 50-yard run before that shot. Yeah, that was not nasty from Christie. And with that, he gets the ball and then the heel. It's one of those, but he gets a proper touch on the ball and then the follow through hits the heel of Lefay. So I don't think, let's say if that had been a goal from Jimenez, I don't think it would have been overturned by VAR.
No, that's always a hard one for the referee. I do feel for Jared Gillett there because there's nothing Christie can do, but the fact of the matter is he does catch Lefay, and it will be a painful one for the Frenchman. Either way, it's Bournemouth with the ball back once again because that's a poor goal kick from Robin Ruffs. Here's Jimenez again down the far side. He's away from Trey Hume. Ball to the box. Evan Nielsen hits the deck, looks towards the referee. Tavernier can't get it straight towards goal. It's dealt with in the end by Sunderland. Jimenez is looking absolutely phenomenal down the near side. It's Evan Nielsen trying to dummy the ball towards Tavernier, and in the end Tavernier's shot's poor. But that's really good from Bournemouth.
Yeah, and Jimenez, I think, and exactly when he receives the ball, he just had a little kick on the ball, and then he accelerates, and then gets the space to pass Trey Hume, and he's been very impressive on the right hand side today, going forward in particular. Jimenez, and it's something for Sunderland to keep an eye on because a lot of times it gets too much space on the right hand side, seen from a Sunderland point of view.
Priestley for Carson has got his second of the game away from home against Shrewsbury in League 2 as Walsall lead 2-1 against Shrewsbury Town. I think they are the informed team in the country at the moment, Shrewsbury Town. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, they've won the last 5 in a row, and they're the only team in the country to have done that.
They're on a phenomenal run, and I'd say Walsall in a total opposite run, as per always this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. 72 minutes on the clock, excuse me, in our game in the Premier League. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. It's Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 0. A reminder that if Bournemouth win this game, they will leapfrog Brentford in 7th, up into what I believe is looking like it's going to be a Europa League spot going into next season. As for Sunderland, though, if they go on to take all 3 points in this one, they will leapfrog Bournemouth themselves and move up into 8th from 12th, where they started the afternoon. In fact, no, sorry, did they start? No, they did start 12th, just behind Newcastle on goal difference. If stays how it is, Sunderland will finish this kick-off at 11. In 11th, Bournemouth will remain in 8th. As Scott goes for goal from distance, and I'm not sure he could have struck that much worse if he tried.
Well, it's even if he struck it really good, it could never go in from that angle. It's just a rushed decision by Scott to have a shot. It's almost like, I've got a ball, shoot, I'm 40 yards from goal. Fair enough, it's the goalkeeper, it's not in goal, you can score, but that's poor from Scott. And now it's a yellow card for time wasting for Ruffs. But have you ever seen a goalkeeper sent off for double yellow for yellow? So it's almost pointless, those yellow cards.
Yeah, yellow card for Robin Ruffs, which is maybe a little bit surprising at this stage of the game. But either way, the Dutchman does go into the bucket. It looks as though Nelson Angula, the Ecuadorian international, is ready to come on for Sunderland sooner rather than later. Just trying to have a think of that maybe 4 potentially for either Lefay, if that knock after the challenge from Christie is deemed to be too much for him to deal with, or for Mayenda and somebody moves up top. Either way, here comes Sunderland down the left hand side with Enzo Lefay. Links up well with Habib Diarra. In fact, it's Siddiqui away from Jimenez. Siddiqui has a good ball into the penalty area, and there's nobody really there challenging for it at the back post. Here though come Bournemouth down the near side. It's Tavernier back to Senesi. A long ball sent forward. It's not a long ball. It's really easily dealt with in the end by Granit Xhaka, and Bournemouth have to restart from the back line once again. Really good that from Sunderland on the far side, and they should have created a goal scoring opportunity.
Yes, basically there's 4 or 5 players in the box, but they're all inside the 6-yard box. One or two of those players need to hold back and be in the position where the ball came, because he's travelling with so much speed there, Siddiqui, and it's difficult to look up, actually find a player. It's a percentage ball, and positioning not the best for the strikers there, but Sunderland, I'm impressed with how they reacted to that goal against looks like they are going for the win.
Yeah, it looks as though that is the case. Ball into the box is not a bad one from Scott. He's intercepted though by Ballard. And someone can get it clear. Long ball. So far, I was going to say looking towards my end, but my end is nowhere near it. He's saying that pass has got to be better and actually more towards him. Here, though, come Bournemouth with Trufer. Oh, dearie me. Eric, sum that up.
It's a ball out to Trufer on the left-hand side. He controls it really, really good, and then he tries to cross and the bounce outside his right boot, hits the rosette or maybe the beach behind the stadium there. So, very poor from Trufer. And looks like Granit Xhaka, is he going to be taken off for Sunderland?
Yeah,
maybe that might be the after effect of that Tyler Adam challenge.
Potentially, but I also think as well they're just trying to nurse him back from injury, aren't they? Granit Xhaka, he's missed a pretty lengthy spell on the sidelines, the Swiss midfielder, so he's going to be brought off now. He played 19 minutes against Fulham, which were his first minutes since the start of January. He's played 75 today. Off he comes now. He's going to be replaced by Nilsson Angula. So I think Angula's going to go out wide. I think Lefay's going to move into the number 10 position. Diarra is going to slot into the double pivot alongside Sadiki. And I think, again, it's more sensible changes from Regis Lebrave.
Yeah, Angulo is obviously going to either be as a striker or as on the flank. He's not a central midfield player, so not. Sadiki, Enzo Lefay, Diarra on the central roles in the midfield with Traore and Angulo, I think, will be on the left-hand side, but it's on the right at the moment.
Yeah, here he is now, Traore. Moves it centrally for Sadiki. Sadiki turns away well after the pass from Gertruida. Sadiki then chip ball in towards Angula, not convincingly dealt with by Jimenez, but it's away from the Ecuadorian just, and Bournemouth can get it clear. It actually looks like Mayenda's going to move on to the left hand side, and Angula's going to play up front. Again, I don't mind it. I think they need to get Mayenda a little bit more involved. He's somebody who can do something out of nothing. Get him slightly more involved. Get him running at Jimenez, who struggled so far. And we'll wait and see. Just as I say that, Angulo's moved on to the left-hand side. Here he is now, Angulo inside the penalty area, trying to get away from Jimenez. Good chance comes in from the Spaniard. Now to play for a corner. Brilliant play from Trey Hume down the left-hand side. Lovely ball towards Angulo. And in the end, Sunderland have done well to win the corner.
It's just a great attack. And it started with Ballard on his own half, playing the ball through the press towards Trey Hume. Trey Hume's slightly overhit. It's a good pass, but corner kick. And Sunderland, as I said, I'm really impressed by how they reacted to getting a goal against. You thought maybe Bournemouth, favourite for this game, would push on for the winner, but it's all to play for. Corner kick now.
Yeah, corner to be swung in over on the far side. It's a decent one towards the post. It's Ballard and it's wide. It's a really good opportunity. It's a really good header from Dan Ballard, and it can only have been inches wide of the far post.
I thought that was into the back of the net. It's get a bit further wide than it probably should have been. It's a free header. He's twisting his body too much. If he tries to flick it to the far post, it looks like it. Ballard there. It's a great chance, and out for a goal kick in the end. Looking at that again, I'd say we're looking at the goal now again from Evan Nilsson, which I think is right that if he didn't hit his fingertips, which I thought he might have done first, then it's a good goal from Evan Nilsson.
Yeah, he's gone down with a bit of an injury here. How's the Brazilian? And this is a bit of a concern for Bournemouth. Cambridge have opened the scoring with a quarter of the game left to go. A quarter of the game, quarter of an hour left to go at the Abbey Stadium against MK Dons. It's Lavery with the goal in that one, which is a big goal towards the top end of League 2. It's a huge goal, in fact, towards the top end of League 2. Still no other goals to bring you of in League 1. In the Championship, Derby lead Blackburn by 2-1. Ben Brereton Diaz and Matt Clark, the 2 goal scorers. Norwich have scored a second against Leicester. It was Anis Ben Slimani with the first one, and it was Ali Ahmed with the second. As I'm just trying to work out what's happened here to Evan Nilsson, because he's gone off injured, hasn't he? He's going to be subbed off. Enezu now's ready to come on. In fact, have they already made that change? I'm not entirely too sure, but
he's jogging on the sidelines.
Enezu now stripped off, ready to come on.
So he's jogging back to the dugouts to maybe to be subbed on again. I'm not sure, but currently 10 players then for Bournemouth, unless they made this change without just looking.
No, they haven't made a change, and they are indeed down to 10 for the moment at least. Angulo's been brought down in the midfield. Can confirm, by the way, Matt Crooks has also given Hull the lead away from home against Portsmouth. But yeah, it looks as though now Bournemouth are going to make that double change, and I think Evan Nielsen is going to be forced off. I don't know about you, Eric, I couldn't see what had happened, to be brutally honest. In fact, just as I say that, the different numbers been held up. It looks as though Eli Junior Krupi's going to come off. He's going to be replaced by Inezu now. So the question is Evan Nielsen going to continue, or is he indeed going to go off? No, he is going to continue, because Tavernier's the other man who's going to go off. He's replaced by Amin Adley.
Yeah, so Adley on for Tavernier. I quite like Adley. He's a good player if you want to go for the win. It's good technical, good attacking player. Krupi, he's been disappointing today. Hardly ever mention him, as we haven't mentioned Evan Nilsson either. So Evan Nilsson and Unal both on the pitch. That's not very often for Bournemouth.
No, certainly not at all. But it maybe to try and challenge Sunderland as best as possible from set pieces. There is now a set piece for Sunderland, swung into the boxes again. It's towards Ballard. Mayenda with the effort, and it's into the back of the net. But the flag's gone up. Troy knew straight away he was offside. The initial ball comes in towards Ballard. It's headed away, falls to Mayenda, who on the volley directs it towards goal. That then gets deflected, and it finds its way through to Gertruida, who nods into the back of the net. But the flag was quickly up.
Yeah, it's. I think from Mayenda, if it just can hit that ball proper, it mishits it. The offside is no problem with the offside, but if it just hits the ball and it goes straight into the back of the net, it's a goal. But he's interfering in play. I'm not sure if it hit the ball, so offside, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it was going in from Mayenda. He catches it poorly, doesn't he?
It's a poor shot. So if it just hit a screamer into the back of the net, I don't think it will be given offside.
No, I agree with you, but
it would be a debate, though.
Yeah, it certainly would. Goal, however, does not stand, and we are still level at 1 apiece. Less than 10 minutes to go of normal time in this game at the Vitality Stadium. It's independent off-tube studio-based commentary, and it's Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. It's hard to really say who's better placed to go on to win it, which normally means it's going to end in a draw, and that's where I'd be putting my money at the moment, Eric.
I think 8 minutes to go draw, but at the moment it's Sunderland who's actually closer to the second goal than Bournemouth. Bournemouth been really disappointing, especially after the equaliser, and I'm impressed by Sunderland. 3 defeats on the spin, 4 defeats in 5, and they're really taking the game to Bournemouth. So it would be really harsh on Sunderland if they were to lose this game, which obviously could happen. Just look at Dan Ballard there. What a fantastic header to start an attack. Another for Sunderland. Again, it could be a chance for Mayenda, but straight back into the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Senesi with a decent header back to Petrovic. Here come Bournemouth again, though, down the right hand side. It's Jimenez trying to get away from Angulo. He's held up well. Just cut it back to Christie. Christie now back to Hill. Hill will move it square to Senesi once again. Senesi thought about sending the ball long over the top. We'll just keep hold of it for the moment before playing it down line, looking towards Adley. He's taking a nick off Gertruida. The referee should give a corner, and I think he has given a corner. Good decision from Jared Gillett. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen more changes from Sunderland, to be honest. Only seen the 2. They could only stop the game once more. Luke O'Neill and Wilson Isidore, to me, seem like the obvious changes. Granted, they are like the only 2 senior players outside of Chris Rigg to bring on, but they just feel like the obvious answer for Sunderland at the moment, and I think it's fair to say Iraola's rolled the dice and Labrie hasn't. Ball swung into the 6-yard box. It's a terrible ball, and Robin Rose can easily gather, and he can feed Noah Siddiqui, and we know how much Noah Siddiqui likes to run, and here comes Noah Siddiqui driving through the midfield looking to try and feed Trey Hume. When he cuts inside there, Noah Siddiqui, and he's showing the frustration now, he just couldn't get the ball out of his feet, could he? And the play breaks down pretty easily.
Yeah, and he tries to it's an impossible pass for Trey Hume. I think it is look from the right hand side. I think it was a run from Traore on the right hand side. He could have found it there, but or just run with the ball towards the defence. Maybe get a foul, maybe get a deflection, because he never knew that pass was just almost like a clearance from the Sunderland player. So, but yeah, again from a corner kick, there's counter attack.
He's going to have to go off here, Evan Nielsen. He's just walked off the side of the pitch. He has now finally said that he's done and dusted. So, an interesting cameo from Evan Nielsen. On a half-time, got the equaliser, has then seemingly picked up an injury from nowhere. I can't tell where he's picked this injury up from. And he can be replaced by Alex Toth. I don't know about you, Rick. Did you see where the knock came from? Because
Yeah, well,
I'm baffled.
I think it came from, wasn't that Dan Ballard, the header that went just wide? I think it was a part of that challenge against Dan Ballard, but there was no foul, no nothing, and it's out. And quite interestingly, they do the sub 10 minutes after. He was initially
He's tried to give it a go, hasn't he?
But that's bad management from the medical staff or the management from Bournemouth to actually keep him on the pitch, because now they've used up all the subs.
They've used up all 5. They can't make any more changes. So let's hope for Bournemouth's sake that nobody else gets injured in the rest of this game, because they will finish the game with 10 if they do, unless it's a concussion, of course. Here comes Sunderland, having won the ball back high up, as Angulo trying to play the ball towards Traore. Good challenge comes in the end. But still, Sunderland come forward. It's Gertruida, surely brought down from behind there by Alex Toth, who's been on the pitch for 30 seconds and he's picked himself up a yellow card. This game is phenomenal, isn't it?
It's a brilliant game, and Gertruida, who was basically, it looked like he didn't have legs to run on 10-15 minutes ago. We collects the ball in midfield, nutmegs a Bournemouth player, and then charges towards the penalty area, brought down by Alex Toth, who's get his first involvement, yellow card. I think this a typical yellow card late in the game may not have been given in the first few minutes.
Maybe not. There's no way of telling, is there really? Brian Bruce has made it 3-1 to Derby in the what I've labelled the John Eustace Derby against Blackburn, and it looks as though the John Eustace's current side Derby are going to win the John Eustace Derby against Blackburn. That's quite a tongue twister, it has to be said. Chance though for Sunderland from this free kick in the dying embers of this one. It's Enzo Lefebvre standing over it. It's about 30 yards away from goal, pretty much dead centre down the middle, so it is going to be a difficult ball to swing in. I wouldn't fancy striking it if I was Enzo Lefebvre. He's going to roll it along the floor to Angulo, who cannot get it under control. Bertrand Traore's won it back. Brilliant. Oh, Jared Gillett, no! What have you done? Traore won it back brilliantly down the near side there, and he's pulled it back for a foul from Traore on Amin Adli. It's not a foul, is it, Eric?
They got away with it on their Bournemouth. So it's almost like the referee was scared of a goal being given, because it could have been a foul. But now Bournemouth, from that free kick, go forward. Poor pass into the middle, and this will be a foul for Sunderland. No, Ballard keeps his keeps his balance.
Brilliant.
Fantastic play.
Brilliant from Dan Ballard, trying to get away from Alex Toth. I think Dan Ballard suggested that, well, if he goes down there, Alex Toth is off, because that's the second yellow offence, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's poor from Rayan over on the far side. He gets the ball into the box. Ballard does brilliantly, and I don't know, a slightly lesser person would have hit the deck there and taken the red card. But do you know what? I like that from Dan Ballard. Roos taking a chance there on the ball, allows Adley to put the pressure on. Eventually does get it clear towards Trey Hume, who's given it away in midfield. Here's Christie. Chip ball is deflected by Trey Hume, and then Gertruida nearly wins it, although his pass is intercepted well by the former Celtic man. Chip ball over the top now, finds Trufair into the penalty area. Toth lays it off. Unal, can he get a shot off? Unal with the good feet, blocked for Traore, not once but twice. Alderete with the header, and then cleared by Gertruida. Brilliant defending in the end by Sunderland to deny the goal scoring opportunity from Inez Unal. I'll bring Eric in a second. Maybe a counter attack here for Sunderland. Here's Habib Diarra. Brilliant from him. He's got space on the right side. Oh, he had to play it onto the right hand side. Lefebvre then with a firm challenge. It has been called. Referee says no foul. Jimenez now driving forward. He's away from Trey Hume. Jimenez down the right hand side. Right foot to ball towards the front post. It's deflected, and that will just bundle towards Gertruida on the near side. Maybe he didn't take a deflection. Maybe he's had a play for a throw in. But there's so much right there, Eric.
First, it's that Unal chance when he got a ball from 6-7 yards out, and he couldn't get a shot on goal. He tried to twist and turn, and then Sunderland on the counter attack. And look at that Unal chance. Oh, fantastic defending by Sunderland.
Yeah, it's Siddiqui. It's phenomenal.
It's just bodies in front. There's 2 players on the floor, 3 players on the floor, and Unal, he thought he had created a space for himself for a shot, which almost certainly would have been a goal. But then Sunderland go forward, and it's a challenge against Lefebvre.
Well, the chance was for Diarra to play it onto the right hand side, and instead he chose to move it onto the left. It's a big mistake from Habib Diarra, and how much could Sunderland go on to rue that opportunity? Here come Bournemouth again, though, down the far side. It's Christie out wide for Rayan. Rayan wants to get away from Hume. We'll go back to Jimenez. Jimenez now, centrally for Alex Scott. We're into the 90th minute. You can imagine there'll be 4 or 5 minutes of added on time at the end of this one. Not a huge amount of stoppages in the second half. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe 6 at a push, but I think 5 is the most likely number.
Yeah, it's not been hardly any proper stop and play. It's been electric. Now it's a fantastic run by Lefebvre on the left-hand side, taking on 4 defenders. Oh, the tackle from Christie. This is a great game of football.
It really is. It's absolutely fantastic. Angulo won the ball back brilliantly. Then Christie's gone through the back of Lefebvre, and the referee's given a yellow card to the former Celtic midfielder, and rightly so. Good decision from Jared Gillett. We'll see a replay of it now. Lefebvre does brilliantly driving forward, and Christie comes flying into our picture and clatters into Lefebvre, who is up there for my man of the match candidates this afternoon.
Lefebvre is, I think he's got a bit of pick of the bunch, good, because he actually is defending as well. It's not just going forward. So, I think that for a Bournemouth play, let's say Bournemouth win the game, you give the player of the match to the winning team. There's not many standout Bournemouth players today actually going forward. So I'm actually not sure who to pick if Bournemouth were to get a winner and you had to pick a Bournemouth player. I think that's the rule, isn't it?
I think there's been a yellow card brandished to somebody on the sideline.
8 minutes.
Well, never. Some of us have got places to be after this game.
This basically is. Has this been a Champions League game? It would have been 3 minutes.
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know where they've got an 8 minutes from.
It's more, like it or not, it's more like almost like a stopwatch they're using in the Premier League compared to the other leagues.
Yeah, baffled by that, I really am. As I said, there's been a yellow card handed out to somebody on the sideline. It looked like it was somebody on the Bournemouth bench. I'll try and find out who it was that did pick up that yellow card. But either way, free kick for Sunderland is launched into the penalty area by Trey Hume, cleared away by Scott before Lefebvre will nod it back towards the danger zone. It will bundle into the hands of Georgi Petrovic, who will get things moving quickly. Lays it off to Truffert on the near side. Chip ball down the line for Alex Scott. Scott trying to turn away from Traore, holds onto it well, and then we'll move back to Senesi. Senesi across over onto the far side for Hill. Hill, decent ball forward, feeds Unal. Unal then feeds Christie. Loose touch from him, but he does well to scamper it across over to Rayan. Rayan, one-on-one with Angulo, and feeds it inside for Christie once again. Left-footed ball towards the back of the penalty area. Adley heads it down. Unal trying to get away from Ballard. Appeals for a penalty. Nothing given by Jared Gillett. Muted appeals from Unal, which would suggest it's not a foul. Still though, Bournemouth come forward. Here's Scott, central edge of the penalty area. Feeds Jimenez. Challenged well by Angulo, but the ball will find its way to Christie. It's been deflected and out of play for a corner. Sunderland aren't happy it's been given as a corner, but it will be a set-piece opportunity for Bournemouth once again.
I could understand why they were happy, because I thought it basically hit Unal that deflected off his own player. But let's have a look at it again. Good little skill first by Christie. Hits the shoulder of Ballard, never a penalty. And Ryan Christie now with the corner kick. It will be in swinging from the right hand side, so nervy moments this for Sunderland.
Yeah, nervy moments indeed for the Black Cats. Diarra being tasked with marking Marcus Senesi. Senesi throws himself to the floor again, holding onto his face. Nothing given by Jared Gillett. There was nothing wrong with that inside the penalty area. He has been a disgrace this afternoon, Marcus Senesi. He really has. That is embarrassing to say the least. He's doing that thing when you're holding to your mouth as if it might be bleeding. There is nothing wrong with him at all. No one has touched his face, and to be honest with you, I wish VAR would be able to turn around to Jared Gillett and say, yellow card him. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, he's not basically he's sandwiched between the goalkeeper and Diarra. That's what's happened there for Senesi, and it's basically without VAR. I don't think it goes to ground. He thinks, oh, I might get a penalty if I'm on the floor, but he stops a quick cross back into the box from Bournemouth, because 2 players on the holding ahead. Referee got no other option to blow the whistle, because they obviously imagine how much trouble he would be in if it didn't blow for. So that it's almost like emotional blackmail towards the referee. This feigning head injury. Look at Senesi now running. There's nothing wrong with it. You're absolutely right, Luke.
Yeah, he's nothing wrong with him at all. He's been told to go off the side of the pitch because he's gone down with a head injury. Another rule that I don't like, but on this occasion it's a good punishment for Marcus Senesi. There's then unrest in the crowd because they're not happy with something that's gone on. I think it's because Bournemouth have been given the ball back, but that was the right decision from Jared Gillett. And here come the Cherries once again. It's with Christie. Lays it off to Jimenez. Back to Christie once more. Now Rayan. One-on-one with Lefay. Rayan skips away from Lefay far too easily, and from Hume as well. Here goes Rayan towards the byline, chip ball into the box. Could it fall to Trufair? No, it doesn't. It cleared away well by Gertruida, and it's away from danger. And Mayenda will gather on the near side, and Mayenda will look to try and move things forward for Sunderland. He's away from Alex Scott. Brilliant from Eliza Mayenda. He's then pulled back for a foul because Scott has pulled the shirt of the Spaniard, and that will be another yellow card, this time going the way of the former Bristol City man. But brilliant from Mayenda on that occasion.
Absolutely, the hold-up play inside his own half, because if he lost the ball there, it could easily have been another counter-attack. But Scott with a shirt pull, clear yellow card, and free kick, set piece for Sunderland. They have a chance to just launch this ball into the box, although it's almost at the halfway line on the left-hand side of free kick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's finished in League One, by the way. Northampton 1, Peterborough 1. As it looks like Sunderland are going to make one final change in this one, having already stopped the game on 2 occasions. Eliza Mayenda, his last action of the game is going to be to have won that brilliant free kick. The goal scorer of the Sunderland goal, he departs, and on comes Wilson Isidore. What have you made of Eliza Mayenda today, Eric?
It's not been involved too as much as I liked him, so he's lost the ball too many times when in the hold-up play. But he's got a goal, and if the score now from the free kick is probably, I would say, a 6 out of 10 performance for Mayenda. I'm surprised that Isidore didn't come on earlier, but obviously now the ball forward is just going to break off. There could have been a chance for Isidore straight away.
Yeah, it could have been. Trey Hume with a brilliant ball forward. It's defended well in the end by Bournemouth. There's what's been given here on the near side. Is it a free kick that's been given for Amin Adli? I think that's a little bit generous. I didn't think anybody touched Adli there, but either way, free kick given. Bournemouth have the ball back. 2 minutes left to go of the 8 added on in this one. Independent Tube Studio-based commentary. It's Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. I think there'll probably be at least another minute played after the 8 because of the substitutions and the laughable dive from Marcus Senesi. It's here come Bournemouth forward once again. Aldereti's hit the deck off the ball. Ballard will get it clear, and here come the Black Cats down the near side. Traore linking up well with Habib Diarra, but the return ball back towards Diarra is under hit, and Bournemouth can send a long ball forward. Bournemouth can have the ball back with their goalkeeper Georgi Petrovic. Ball played into the midfield for Alex Scott. Scott turns away and has options left and right. Bournemouth are going to get anything from, get a win in this game. They need to move the ball forward quicker. They have now moved the ball forward well down the line to Jimenez. Poor ball forward, they're looking towards you now. Intercepted well by Alderete. That's then a firm challenge from Alex Scott. I'd have given a free kick for that. Referee says no, play will continue. Long ball sent forward towards Angulo. It's Jimenez dealing with it, and Jimenez will launch a long ball down the line. It's gathered by Christie. I say down the line, it's hardly a long ball either. But Scott there to help out Christie. Links up well with the Scottish international. There's the ball then bouncing around the midfield. It's gathered by Jimenez, who now then clattered into by a couple, but play will continue as Christie still has the ball. He's been brought down by Lefay, and the referee will give a free kick, and that will just kill a little bit more time.
Yeah, I think for the first time actually in today, basically it looks like Sunderland tried to hold on to the win, but it looks like Marcus Tavernier has been given the player of the match.
He barely kicked the ball in the first half.
Yeah, it's brilliant cross for the goal, of course, but and a couple of shots. Generous. I would not have picked him as player of the match, but it's maybe Bournemouth can get that win now with this last free kick, but they need to just put the ball into the danger zone now. They are. And actually do it from the halfway line now. This could be a last chance.
Yeah, long ball sent forward towards James Hill, headed up into the air by Ballard. The ball falls to Senesi. Senesi straight towards goal, blocked. Maybe a chance now for a counter-attack for Sunderland. Angulo should gather this over on the far side, and he does gather it. Does he fancy taking on Rayan? Yes, he does. But the Brazilian's defended brilliantly and takes the ball off of the youngster. Here now come Bournemouth. Toth, right-hand side, trying to get away from his man. Chip ball towards the back post. It'll be headed up into the air by Gertruida. Straight towards goal is deflected by Rayan. It's deflected. The strike comes from Rayan. It's deflected from Unal. In the end, it's over the crossbar. It should be a goal kick.
It's a goal kick, yes. And Unal, basically Unal just don't touch the ball, and it might even go into the back of the net. It's not a good hit from Ryan, but if you don't touch the ball, it will go past everyone, and the goalkeeper probably would have saved it, but he would have seen it late.
Potentially the last action of the game, Robin Rust to launch this goal kick long. We'll wait to see how much added on time at the end of added on time there is from Jared Gillett. He does wave play on. One ball sent forward is headed back towards Sunderland's penalty area, but Ballard will then knock it towards Isidore. Isidore can't get there ahead of Senesi. It'll be gathered by Alderete. Back all the way to the Sunderland penalty area for Roofs. Roofs kicks it first time high up into the air, thinking that the referee was going to blow his whistle. He hasn't. Sunderland, though, have won it back, and here may be the final chance for Sunderland. Lefay down the line, feeds Hume. Hume looking towards Angulo, passes intercepted by Jimenez. Jimenez, lovely flick down the line, feeds Christie. Christie now finds Toth. Toth comes forward. He's then fouled in midfield as the referee says yes, and this probably is last chance saloon for the home side. Alex Toth has done well there to win that free kick. Iraola sending players forward, tells them to get forward and cause issues. It's Alex Scott to take it. We're now past 10 minutes added on at the end of this game. This is a farce, it really is, because we shouldn't have had 8 minutes added on at the end of this game. They've drawn time from nowhere.
We're almost back to where, the time when there was like for minute, but that was the last chance with the ball into the box.
Long free kick sent forward. Hill will head up into the air. It's bouncing around inside the penalty area. Adley will try and swing it back across. It's gathered by Rayan over on the far side. Left-footed ball into the penalty area, headed away by Alderete. Further cleared by Angulo. Isidore will then challenge Scott. Scott will take it away from the Frenchman initially, and he'll drive towards the penalty area. Alex Scott links up well with Hill. Hill then tries to turn it towards the penalty area. It's cleared away well by Sunderland. Jimenez over on the far side. Still no full-time whistle from Jared Gillett. Rayan away from Angulo. Rayan shot for distance, deflected and wide of the post. What a way that would have been to end the game. It was deflected, I think, by Alderete and out for a corner. So an opportunity now for the ball to be swung in by Bournemouth, who were in no rush to take this, it has to be said. It's Alderete who hits it last. They know that Jared Gillett's not going to play for full time, so they can take their time over it. It will be Rayan to swing this ball in. Everybody up from the back for Bournemouth. Rayan swings it towards the near post. It's headed away by Alderete. There is no way he's going to ask for this to be retaken again. Jared Gillett has now just said that Robin Roos was fouled in the build-up, but is not given a free kick. He's now saying for it to be taken again. Roos isn't even fouled. It should just be full time. We're still waiting for this corner to be swung in. Bournemouth fans look nervy in around the Vitality Stadium. Antonio Iraola looks a little bit nervous. Regis Labrie looks even more nervous. There's now a man on the floor. It's Senesi who's hit the deck again. We're now, what is this now, 102 minutes into this game. Senesi still arguing away with Habib Diarra. He's going to hit the floor in a minute. He has hit the floor. Roos punches away. The referee looks at his watch. Still no whistle to be blown. Strike comes in from Christie, deflected, who now then tries to turn it round the corner. And then what's the referee given here? Because it should probably be full time or a corner. In the end, there are players getting back to their feet. Bournemouth fans are complaining, but there is the full-time whistle. It has finally been blown by Jared Gillett. The goal-scoring got going through Eliza Mayenda after 18 minutes. A tap in inside the 6-yard box, but Evan Nielsen was able to equalise just after